Alrighty, let's go, let's go. Lots of things to talk about today. Very interesting. That new graph with the rank system data actually I think has a lot of takeaways in it that I want to talk about. But first, we're gonna talk about the patch. It's been long enough at this point. I think I have like well-formed opinions about most characters and how they've been affected, I think. Let me just do this real quick.
You've got gifts waiting.
Okay, kill that guy. Yo, hello, Silver. We're gonna talk about that graph. The more I looked into it, there's actually a lot of very interesting little things to discuss there. But we'll do that second. Right now, we'll do what I was planning to do earlier here first.
What kind of battles we'll face today?
Bum 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 bum. But yeah, this me. I'm gonna use this as a jukebox. Let me do that real quick. Data like that is fascinating. Yeah, because there's a lot more. I think, like, obviously, people will look at that and they'll just look like, oh, what is the rank distribution like? But there's a lot of little interesting things. I really love how they organized it and all the different tabs and the fact that you have like the data from before and the data after. It's a very well done post. Definitely gotta give a huge shout out to whoever made that when we actually get into it. But there's a lot of little takeaways that you can find actually just from how in-depth the reporting is, right? Very, very cool. Let's get Galleon's theme on here as background for this. Probably easier to just do that. But alright. Hello, Galleon. Versus Galleon. Galleon! Alright. Is that loud enough? I think that's loud enough. I like her theme a lot, honestly. Let's turn this shit up. Can't be that bad. If it's louder than I am, let me know. Yeah, I think this is about right. I guess maybe I should add. There's gonna be a lot of, because there's certainly are going to be some characters who just kind of go in essentially the same. Galleon! That's right. Galleon. What's a good color for this? Like a darker gray? No. These guys should get the white. Forgotten should get like the darker, like the sad gray. That's right. Hello, Beak. Hello, Bonjum. This seems right to me. The no category brick stream. How I know what game we're talking at? Oh, you're right. What the hell? Let me. Why did it kill my? Why did it remove my category? There we go. Category added back in. We're big chillin' now. That's a new one. It usually just auto-saves it from whatever I was doing last time I went live. This time it did decide to kill it. How odd. Let's go over here. Grand Blue is dead. Yeah, that's correct. They took the category off Twitch. It doesn't exist anymore. It's very unfortunate. Oh, right. And Brick killed it. That's correct. Grand is dead and we killed him. Zeta is forgotten. Oh wait, I forgot. Okay, wait. So I'm missing some categories here, right? Biggest winners. I guess we can put biggest losers at the bottom here. Actually, there's too many tiers. I gotta figure out a better way to organize this. I gotta figure out a better way to organize this because right now I'm kind of fucking the dog. I feel like maybe we'll organize it by magnitude. You know what I mean? We'll organize this ship. Huh? Yeah, okay, hold up. I gotta get minor buffs. Get minor buffs there. I think escaped nerfs is technically that's like moderate buffs in and of itself, I think. And then Galleon in the middle. And then biggest losers, minor nerfs, essentially the same. Yeah, okay. Hold up. I got this. Biggest losers, minor nerfs, essentially the same, and forgotten. That, I think, is a more reasonable way to organize that, don't you think? So it's basically Galleon splits up losers and winners, because she's, I mean, she is Galleon, right? Nothing special happened with her, she's new. Yeah. Winners, substantial buffs, escape nerfs, which I would consider a win. Minor buffs. Okay. Let's get into it here. So, I think I finally have a way to organize this that I like, that I enjoy. So we'll get going here. So the Galleon patch, right? The Galleon patch was not, you know, it's not, a lot of characters weren't directly touched in this patch, but I do think the characters that were very impactful in such a way that, you know, if like Ladiva and Vasaraga and Beelzebub and things like this, very polarizing characters, if they're going to be more prevalent in the meta, or if certain things are going to be less prevalent in the meta, or something like that, that is actually going to have ripple effects across more of the cast than you might think. And also, it's also just true that a lot of the cast got touched by that fuzzy change, right? So we'll talk here. Is nerf buffed, but it doesn't matter, a tier that could be included? I would say essentially the same, right? Like, if it's worth talking about, then they can go in minor nerfs or minor buffs. But if basically the character, you know, the same pre and post, then we'll get to it. So yeah, let's explain the tiers real quick here, right? So biggest winners is obvious. It's just, you know, the characters that got the biggest buffs, the characters that jumped the most in terms of their power level. It doesn't necessarily mean that a character is like a top tier now, right? Certainly there's one example of this that I don't think literally anyone will be surprised by when we get to him. When we get to big, burly, armored him, right? But this doesn't necessarily need to be that the character is like a top tier character now. It's just more so, you know, if you jumped like a solid like 2 tiers or something like that, even if that was from like bottom tier to like high tier or something, then I think that counts, right? Substantial buffs is basically, you know, again, just characters that got noticeably stronger, characters that you have to actually care about now, perhaps, that didn't exist before, or again, characters maybe were strong already and got buffed to the point that, like, maybe they are in that top tier conversation now. Escape nerfs is an interesting one. I consider this to be pretty, you know, if you were a top tier character or a damn near top tier character, just an incredibly powerful character, and you don't show up in these patch notes at all, and you're not affected, I would consider that a win, man. I would consider that a win. And there's definitely a couple of those like that, right? Minor buffs is easy. Minor buffs is just, you know, you got some stuff. Maybe not the world's most game-changing things, but a step in the right direction, perhaps. Who do you think's in a weird spot? We can certainly talk about it. Galleon is Galleon, right? Galleon is new, right? She didn't win or lose this patch. I do think she's very good. We've talked about this already, but her standing has not changed. This is her first patch existing in the video game, right? And then it kind of flips from there. Galleon splits up your winners and your losers, right? So biggest losers, characters that got nerfed to the hardest. Minor nerfs, right? Same thing. Essentially the same. There's there's going to be a good handful of characters here who basically, you know, maybe their matchups haven't changed. Oh, a very, very important thing to note about, you know, buffs and nerfs and things like this. Again, it may be that while you are not directly mentioned in the patch notes, if your worst matchup is like a top tier now, right? Or if like some of your some of your better matchups are more meta relevant characters, because again, keep in mind, a character's strength is not just predicated on their own fundamental strength in a vacuum. How well they match up into the greater meta is also very important, right? So if meta relevant characters are better matchups for you now, you got better in this patch, even if you don't exist in the patch notes whatsoever. You know, if your bad matchups got nerfed, if your bad matchups got buffed, if your good matchups got nerfed or buffed, right? These things matter. Because if you have like a really good matchup against, okay, let me just get one thing out of the way. If you have like a really good matchup against Vikala, for example, it doesn't really matter, right? Because Vikala is not a very good character. She's not like horrible, awful, unplayable, right? But Vikala is not a very good character. She's not very meta relevant. If your character shits on Vikala, that's not really a point of strength for you, right? That doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when we talk about tier lists, we are talking about high-level play, we are talking about tournament play, and having a really good matchup against Vikala is, you know, maybe Dragalia is memeing that week and you run into his Vikala and your character kills her, but so does most of the game. So don't worry about it. So your matchups, what meta-relevant characters exist, what new meta-relevant characters were introduced, what old meta-relevant characters may be less relevant now, that might affect you even past what the patch notes say about your character specifically, right? So with that in mind, I think and Forgotten, by the way, I didn't mention Forgotten, right? We can talk about Forgotten. This is it. Vikala is here, for example. These are characters who I think this is escaped nerfs, but like sad escaped buffs. These are characters who I think needed a little bit of something that are completely not mentioned in the patch notes, and it's a little bit sad, you know. And Vikala is certainly the number one contender there, right? So, oh yeah, Rick, I commentated my first bracket yesterday. It was my friend's 30+ player Strive Weekly. That's really cool, man. Congrats. Commentating's fun. I always get ADHD and I get distracted, but it's a good time, especially if you have like a co-commentator or something. Escaped getting gaping holes in a kit fixed. Yes. So I mean, Vikala. We can talk about Vikala first, I suppose. So the only characters to give everyone a quick review of what actually happened in this patch. The only characters mentioned by name in this patch are Ladiva Vasaraga, Beelzebub, Nier, Vayne, Beatrix, Versuja. Sandalphon doesn't really count. He got like a quality of life change. Sandalphon's essentially the same as far as his patch notes, at least, right? And then Fairy and Zeta technically as well, but this fuzzy change is sort of the universal, the big universal change that might affect multiple characters. Fuzzies, or just the ability for rising aerials to hit someone, who like to fuzzy someone like that has just been removed from the game entirely, unless your name is Fairy, whose her JL works exactly the same, or unless your name is Zeta, where she did lose her fuzzy, but at least she can still double overhead people with JU, because that is a rising overhead, right? She bounces off you with JU and goes like that, right? So this is the big thing that might affect some characters who aren't named by name here, but yeah. And then this multi-hit thing is a mild buff to some characters. It's like a 100 damage buff to the end of your combos sometimes. So with that in mind, we can get started here. Gran? So Gran is, I think, a lot like Gran is No, I was gonna say that I don't think Gran is a character that needs to get nerfed or anything like that. Gran is, I think, mostly the same, right? You could argue, if anything, you could argue possibly that that Gran likes a little teensy weensy bit better off here, just because basically members of his archetype better than him got a little bit weaker, right? Beatrix got nerfed. I mean, you could argue that characters like Ladiva and things like this being a little bit more meta relevant is probably a good thing for him, right? You could argue that he's slightly better, but I think Gran is certainly, like, overall that there's not, like, you know, there's not a ton of stuff that changed for him, right? Now I will say I am going to argue here, and maybe Jita's will kill me for this. I do think I'm going to argue that Jita is slightly better in this patch. Jita herself, you may notice, is not anywhere in these patch notes, right? Jita didn't have a fuzzy, right? Jita didn't have a fuzzy, so she's not affected by the fuzzy change at all, and obviously Jita is not mentioned in these patch notes whatsoever, right? But I do think that this being kind of a big body patch, right? This being a patch where you're going to see a lot more Ladiva, you're going to see a lot more Vasaraga. Not that Jita is going to, like, eviscerate these characters or anything like that. And if anything, these characters getting better made their matchups against Jita, like, and defensive style characters that might have kept them from getting their game plan started a little better. But I do think that in general, if you are one of these sort of mid-range defensive style, like, all-rounder characters like Jita kind of is, that this patch was kind of good for you, right? I'm not saying that Jita loves fighting. Vasaraga, just for example, is just a way better character than Jita is at this point. So I'm not saying that that she's gonna crush him or anything like that. But I do think I would wager she probably still has a decent matchup into both Vasaraga and Ladiva, and then both of them being a little bit more meaningful, I think helps Jita a little bit, a tiny bit, right? A tiny bit, enough to move her up here. I think she likes fighting those characters more than like Gran does, for example. Catalina is obvious to me. Catalina is, I mean, I almost want Catalina in particular, obviously escaped nerfs. I almost want to put her in biggest winners, just because a character who, in my opinion, is this strong, being entirely out of the patch notes. Like, Catalina is not like, oh, like a strong character who didn't get nerfs. Catalina, in my opinion, was a top 1 contender last patch, who is exactly. Oh, you know what? No, I'm gonna. You know what? I am gonna put Catalina in biggest winners, because I also, this might sound crazy, Catalina, in my opinion, is a top 1 contender who got not only no nerfs, but everything we just said about Jita applies to her too. Do you know what one of Ladiva's worst matchups is? It's Catalina, right? I mean, again, Vasaraga certainly has a few more tools, but again, like these defensive mid-range style zoners, right? I mean, they both have also like the EX fireballs, they have U fireballs. Cat has really good full screen pokes to punish Vasaraga going to Soul Forge and things like this. So I would also argue that, like, not only was she a top 1 character who didn't get nerfed at all, I think some of her best matchups are more meta-relevant characters now, right? It's insane. Catalina is just not. I mean, maybe I have a slightly higher opinion of Catalina than some people. I think everyone agrees she's strong. Not everyone agrees she's like top 3, right? But Catalina got no nerfs, was maybe the best character in the game. A lot of her competition for top 1 got at least slightly worse, and a lot of the new competition for like high tier and top tier are good matchups for her. This character is eating really, really well in this patch, I think. Listen. I'm going to, I'm not really sure what to say. I'm not sure if I wanna, I think I wanna put Charlotta in Forgotten, because I think Charlotta is not very good, and didn't get very many changes, right? But I also will say that I don't think Charlotta is actually completely unaffected by this patch, right? I think Charlotta is actually hurt a little bit here, because she is the exact opposite of Catalina. Do you know what Vasaraga and Beelzebub and Ladiva, all these characters that are much more relevant in the meta now, do you know who they really, really like to fight? You know? This is one, I mean, I'll tell you for a fact, this is one of Ladiva's better matchups. It's one of Vasaraga's better matchups. This is one of Vayne's better matchups. This is one of Beelzebub, I believe's better matchups as well, right? Almost every character that got buffed significantly in this patch is a bad matchup for Charlotta, right? So I do think that she does get hurt by this patch. Not insane. She doesn't get like nerfed directly, right? Rushdown Zeta is kind of impressive sometimes. Or what are you talking about with Jada there? Really just need more balance changes in general. That's a different discussion. Someone said, do you think I wonder if we'll get another big patch like the Resurgent one? I don't know if we're gonna get a patch that big ever again. I don't know that we want a patch that big ever again, right? A big patch, sure, like a balanced patch with a lot of changes, but like the Resurgent patch, every single character had like 18 lines of changes. It is a miracle that overall, in my opinion, the game went in a very good direction with that patch. At this point, the game is in a good enough spot that doing something like the Resurgent patch again could very easily end us up in like a Tekken 8 Season 2 kind of situation, right? I think changing things, it will be making changes for the sake of making changes, just to like, keep things fresh, because we don't need that many huge changes to the balance of the game as it stands. So like, it would just be doing it for the sake of doing it, which I don't think is a horrible thing necessarily, but as big as the Resurgent patch, I don't think, you know. I mean, we're gonna see, right, as we go through here. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be real. Like, even this patch, as small as it is, right, the changes made here were very impactful. Right, the changes made here were very impactful, and again, like, you know, top 5 Vasaraga or whatever. Obviously, it's a bit of a spoiler, but everyone knows Vasaraga's probably maybe the biggest winner of this entire patch, right? Top 5 Vasaraga, that's a big difference, man. That's a huge meta shift, right? Top 5 Vasaraga, high tier Ladiva, Beelzebub buffs, Vayne's not bottom 1 anymore, right? Like, Beatrix actually being hit, I think, more significantly than I thought originally, right? Like, even this with like in a relatively Fuzzy's gone entirely. Even this in a relatively small amount of text, this patch is more impactful than you might think. Versuja patch size? I don't know. If the Wilderness patch is about this big again, like 4 buffs, 4 very substantial buffs, and 4 like tuning nerfs, I'd be okay with that personally. Being a master rank Vayne player, I think James made a huge difference. Yeah. My patience with Voss since the first game paid off. Well, there you go. Yeah, so Charlotta, I think, is hurt a little bit by this patch, right? Honestly, bro, I forgot about Lancelot, so I'm gonna assume the devs did too. I don't think he loves fighting Ladiva that much. I don't think he loves fighting some of the characters that got buffed that much. But bro, I forgot about this guy, and I'm gonna assume the Grand Blue devs did too. They just they nerfed him ever so long ago, and they've just kind of left him there as one of the least popular, and at this point, one of the weaker characters in the game too, right? Lance is just, he's chilling. I would argue that Percival is definitely in the escaped nerfs camp, certainly. You could argue as well that, like, I don't know if he loves fighting Vasaraga. Ladiva is certainly not such a bad matchup for him. I don't think that I don't think necessarily that like his matchup spread has gotten that much better or anything like that in terms of like good characters versus bad characters. But he's really good, and Flame Carpet still functions exactly the same way, and everything else about him still functions exactly the same way, right? So Percy, I think Percy, slightly overrated character in my opinion. I think Toro winning Arc World Tour did some psychic damage to people, but I do think that certain aspects of Percy's kit are incredibly strong, and they're just there. They're exactly the same as they were, and if anything, you could argue that some of his some of his good matchups got a little bit better. So, Ladiva also, I think, is one of our biggest winners for sure. I mean, we've been referencing her and Vasaraga the entire time. Ladiva is not a top tier in this patch, I don't think, personally. As the biggest Ladiva up player in history, I still think that that's a little bit of a stretch. But I do think Ladiva was very easily a bottom 5 contender last patch, at the very best, right? You couldn't really get her that much higher than there. I had her in like the bottom of low mid tier because I love Ladiva, and putting her in bottom tier hurts my heart. But it was a very reasonable thing to say that Ladiva was bottom 5, bottom 3, something like that last patch. And she's just a menace now, right? To talk about exactly why, since this is one of our first characters named in the patch notes directly, basically everything about her got buffed, right? Her defense got better because she has 5-frame light SPD now, which unironically gives her some of the best defense in the video game, basically, because her anti-6XL and anti-far L defense is just incredibly ignorant now. Right, U headbutt is a real reversal now, so that helps her defense too. 2U got a range increase, right, which also helps. This is a bug fix mostly, right? Her damage went up in like 4 different ways. Work the Crowd got a buff, a bunch of things that didn't, used to get affected by Work the Crowd, got affected by Work the Crowd. Her SSBA damage went up for some ungodly reason. This does 10,000 damage on 2 Brave points now when you hit it raw. I don't know what's going on. Her neutral, which was her biggest weakness, it's a lot harder to wall Ladiva out now because these L and M Elegant Lariat changes mean that backdash in neutral against Ladiva is a significantly scarier option than it used to be. They just tuned Ladiva up in literally every single way you could imagine. Her defense got significantly better. Her neutral got significantly better. And the best part about her like win condition, her ability to snowball around after 1 SPD, also got significantly better, right? They tuned this character up in almost every way you can imagine. Pretty much, she's eating really good in this patch. She jumped like 20 spots on the tier list, unironically. I would call Ladiva, she's vaguely somewhere in that high tier range of character now, where again, literally putting Ladiva in bottom 3 last patch would not have been a crazy thing to say, right? Like, imagine if this is, like, to give everyone context, like, imagine Vikala. Imagine if next patch we're talking, like, Vikala is, like, a grand level character, right? Like, she's like a high tier. Some people are like complaining about Vikala, saying she should be top tier, maybe, right? Imagine if that was that's what happened to Ladiva. They were similar. Ladiva's definitely better, but they were similar levels of power. And Ladiva is just, like, unironically an incredibly strong character in this patch now. Definitely one of the biggest winners. On that note, I would argue that Matera, I mean, it's hard to say, right? You could really put Matera in any one of these 3 camps. Matera is like a slightly less, I would argue Matera is like a slightly less meaningful version of Catalina in this patch, in the sense that Matera didn't get nerfed. U Butterfly is exactly the same move that it was. Now, I don't think Matera needs nerfs as much as some people do, but I think U Butterfly is a war crime of a move, and that being completely gone is very funny. And as well, this being the patch of the big bodies, guess who really loves fighting them too, there was a time where just like two weeks ago or something in Dreamland, there were 5 Ladivas. There were 5 Ladivas, right? There were 5 Ladivas in that weekly, me myself included, and like 3 of the Ladivas got to top 8 or something like that. Of the 5 Ladivas, 4 of them died to a Matera, right? Of the 5 Ladivas in that tournament, 4 of them got killed by Senpai Spider. I'll tell you, she loves having Ladiva be a much more meta-relevant character now, and I think she can. I mean, Vasaraga, again, has more, slightly more tools to deal with this, but Vasaraga does not love the Matera matchup either, right? Neither does, to my understanding, Vayne, really, though Vayne not quite as strong as some of these other characters, right? I suppose Ladiva went up, yeah. So, I mean, Matera, unironically, you could argue that her not being nerfed, and also, like, some of her best matchups becoming more meta-relevant now, that matters, man. Now, I think... Yeah, it feels weird to put her in substantial buffs because she's just not in the patch, right? She's just not in the patch. But not getting nerfed, it's basically, again, it's a microcosm of Catalina, right? She didn't get nerfed, and her bad match, or some of her good matchups got much more relevant. So I'll put her down here. I think so. Minor? I don't think so. So she didn't get, because basically what I'm counting like it's not getting nerfed as also a buff, basically. A character like this not getting nerfed and also having some of your best matchups become much more relevant to the meta, I think it's a big deal. If you want to put her here, though, I think it's totally fair, right? I think Matera is not, again, I don't think Matera is like as game-breaking as some people do, but I definitely think U Butterfly being the way it is for 3 more months is certainly quite the choice. Okay. In a similar manner, Lawayne, very similar to, like, again, characters that like fighting Vasaraga and Ladiva and Vayne and stuff like this. They're gonna enjoy this patch, right? Lawayne not in the patch notes whatsoever, But again, a lot of his better matchups are a little bit more important. Lowain really does fuck on Vasaraga in particular quite badly. It's mitigated a little bit by just Vasaraga is just way better than Lowain is now, so there's a bit of a power level diff there. I have a skewed perception of Matera and will not be commenting. I mean, Vera player, right? Vera player thinks Matera is top 0 probably. But yeah, so Lowain has really liked the Vasaraga matchup last patch. I think it's probably a little better for Voss this patch, but Vasaraga matters a lot, and Lowain is going to be eating in that world. He also likes fighting Ladiva. He also likes fighting Vayne. Beelzebub, maybe not as much, because Bubs is the other sort of new, not new, but he, an even more important character than he was before, right? So maybe not quite so much, but overall, I think Lowain is having a good time, somewhat in this patch, right? Fairy, same thing. Right? I'm not personally. I don't want Fairy to get nerfed. I know everyone. She won Evo Japan. She's top 5. Get her out of the game immediately. Kill the ghost girl. I think Fairy. I would not say that Fairy escaped nerfs myself. I think Fairy is a strong zoner, but if she remained at this power level for a while, I don't think I would mind it at all, right? I think Fairy, again, just gets the same thing of, she likes fighting Ladiva. I don't know if she likes fighting Vasaraga quite so much anymore. Maybe a little bit. She can still maybe keep him from getting Soulforged, right? I mean, we're going to talk about Vasaraga in a second here, but the big thing with Vasaraga is there used to be 2 camps of how to deal with him back when he was a little worse. It was either kill him once he got Soulforged, or stop him from getting Soulforged in the first place, right? If you had a lot of reliable 3-hit moves and stuff like that, you could stop Vasaraga with Soulforge up a lot more consistently, right? That camp of people, the people who their best option to deal with Soulforge was to, he gets it, but then I kill him anyway. Those people are way more hurt. Their Vasaraga matchup is way more hurt by this patch than the ones whose goal was to never let him get started in the first place. Fairy does not have a lot of 3-hitting moves. Basically none of them, actually. She has none of them. Fairy's goal is definitely stop Vasaraga from getting it in the first place, and that still functions just about as well in this patch, outside of 5M, making it a little bit hard, right? That's true, okay. You could say Fairy literally escaped, she is the only character who still has the fuzzy license, right? So you could say that Fairy, literally escaped the nerf, but I don't think that this is so much that, Fairy is broken and they gave her, and how dare they not nerf her? I think if you take this away from Fairy, she craters, right? I don't think this is, in my opinion, this is not Fairy unjustly escaping a nerf. If Fairy's JL, if you took Fairy's 50-50 away, the character is hot garbage, right? The character doesn't work anymore. You kill her forever, right? This is, I think, a very, very, reasonable exception to this, I think, right? Fairy, this is one of the 2 things about Fairy. This is not, to me, it's not her escaping nerfs and that, she deserved to get that nerf, but didn't, right? I think a character like Catalina, deserved to have a nerf and didn't. Fairy did not deserve to get nerfed in that way. They just decided to not kill her, right? If you took Fairy's high-low away, she's Vakala tier. Again, none of the other nerfs, none of the other buffs they gave her in 2.0 are going to take that away. At that point, why would you ever not just down back on Fairy forever and ever and ever and ever? So I disagree that that's her escaping nerfs, personally. I want you to hypothesize around how you could nerf Catalina to around the grand power level. This is the fucking problem with Catalina, man. I used to say this with Belial too, right? Where, the problem with Catalina is not she's not a house of cards, right? We can talk about upcoming here, actually, right? This is the actual straight-up biggest loser of the patch. Zeta is still a very good character, by the way, right? But, certainly, one of the things, Fairy is a house of cards. Zeta is a house of... not really a house of cards, right? But Zeta is, straight up the biggest loser of the patch. She's still very good, right? She's still, a solid, high mid-tier-ish character, I think, right? But she just lost her 50-50. She just had the best 50-50 in the game, and they took it away from her, right? That's huge. You can take that one Jenga block out from under Zeta, and it hurts her significantly. It's really hard to think of something like that for Catalina, right? Because you could say, nerf her corner carry again. Okay, cool. She still has the best buttons in the video game, right? The overall, the best set of normals in the video game belongs to Catalina. She has one of the best 6XLs, she has the best 2M, she has the best 4M, she has in competition for the best 4H, she has the best 4L, she has maybe the best 6XL as well. Her 6XH is the only one thing that's a little mediocre about her. She has one of the best JUs and JHs and JLs and JMs, right? So every single kit, every single normal in her kit is you know, top class. Her fireball is one of the best in the entire game, if not the best in the entire game. Her average damage is very incredibly high, one of the highest in the entire game. Her corner carry, her defense, her off, like, the only, like, I don't know, she doesn't have a throw bait, I guess. She doesn't have a throw bait, but she has a BC bait. So to nerf Catalina, you'd have to just do a lot of little changes, kind of like what they did to Belial, but Belial's still better than Gran, even then, right? But like Belial, they like nerfed you Fireball. They nerfed, technically they took his Guard Crush away too in a previous patch. They nerfed his 2M. They nerfed his EX Fireball. They made the gap in his EX Fireball into the spin. Right? Catalina 214M is a throw bait? Technically, yeah, it's not a good one, but it is. Right? So you would have to just nerf like 6 or 7 things on Catalina a little bit, right? If you were on the balance team, what would you personally do to Catalina? I have to, I mean, okay. I'd have to think about it. I think, because some of the strengths of Catalina, like carving the really good normals, it's rough, right? Because the problem, Catalina was a lot more of a reasonable character when she had all of this and didn't get good reward off of it. The problem is she does now, but like, I don't know that you're just gonna revert all of those changes, right? So if you want Catalina to have a little bit, if you want Catalina to have that high reward, right, you're going to need to tune down the normals or tune down maybe some of her aspects of getting that reward. Maybe make her worse at doing it without meter, right? Maybe you could make it so that extension she gets off the light wall only works if the opponent is crouching, right? So she only gets her like really good carry with 50 meters. She can't just like, you know, do it with light wall normally, but even then, oh no, it already does only work if they're crouching, yeah. Because like, you could just shoot her, right? Yeah, I mean, if you make 2-3-6 you launch, that certainly helps a lot, right? If that's just like not a combo tool anymore, it's what I said before they even nerfed the follow-up she got off the rollerblades, right? But yeah, like, I think you can either just shoot the reward she gets on hits. That feels kind of weird because they just gave that to her, right? Or if you're not going to revert those changes, basically, then you need to just tune a lot of her normals down a little bit. Again, think of Belial as a very good. Belial is a very good sort of blueprint, right? To think about how you could make Catalina a little bit more reasonable, right? You could make her pressure a little bit worse. You could make her make her 2M like slightly smaller, or maybe make it 8 frames. Make her far M like a little smaller. You know, maybe make her far L a little smaller. Maybe like fewer active frames. Maybe like a startup decrease on her far H. Maybe her EX Fireball is minus on block at point blank or something like that, right? You have to do a lot of little tiny tweaks like that. I think you're overrating Catalina. Maybe. I think she is essentially flawless. I think the character is basically flawless. I think she has as close to a literally flawless character as exists in Grand Blue currently. And it's not just that she has no weaknesses. I think a lot of her strengths are also very strong, right? I think Catalina is literally like, she is, besides not having a like really good throw bait, and that's not even a flaw. That's like a lack of a lack of really strong strength, right? But I think Catalina is basically a flawless character, right? She is essentially flawless while also having like somewhat being top 1 in some aspects of the video game. Incredible strengths with no weakness, right? But anyway, so that's the talk on Catalina. That's a psycho monologue there. So I mean, Zeta we talked about, right? Zeta lost her fuzzy, right? That's huge. That's very, very big. She's good at what she's good at, but limited in what she can do. I don't know what the limits are. She doesn't have Uno's jumping heavy dive kick, right? That's true. She doesn't have like she doesn't have like the best throw bait in the game. I don't know what things Catalina can't do. I don't know what things Catalina can't do that other members of the cast can. She doesn't have a command grab, I guess, right? She doesn't have like a literal 50-50, but like, look at Sandy in comparison. Listen, I think Sandalphon's really good. What? Look at Sandy? She's like better than him, no? Like in every way, except like if what you mean is like she doesn't have like a 50-50, right? She doesn't have like a hard 50-50. She doesn't need one because she has the best buttons in the game, right? Like Catalina is the Let me just I wanna Catalina is like the prototypical example of a character who just, when she gets you to the corner, she does this. And guess what? There is not a single character in the video game besides 2B who has her own problems, who if Catalina is standing here, you are going to have even like an okay time, right? She doesn't need, like, the thing that Galleon is limited, that she can't do, that someone like Grimnir could do, or Vasaraga, or Ladiva, or something like that, right? Is that out of range of Galleon 5H? No, it isn't. However, Catalina 5H is 9 frames and just as big. So if Galleon wants to be swinging far H's, right? If Galleon wants to be swinging far H's from this distance, Catalina has a far H that is the size of hers that is 4 frames faster, right? I present Galleon 5U. Oh, you mean the thing that is literally twice as slow as Catalina Far H? I don't think so, brother. Right? Galleon is, by the way, one of the only characters who can actually fight Catalina somewhat in this range. But Catalina dominate. Oh, by the way, oh, my bad. Far H. 8 frame Far M that also fucking reaches from here. That's my bad. 7 frame 2M that damn near reaches from here too, by the way. 7 frame 2M that reaches from there too that also fully confirms into a real hit. Right? I'm just saying. So, Catalina doesn't have a command grab. She doesn't have like a 50-50, something like that. She doesn't fucking need one. She stands here, and the entire game loses. Right? You can, I say this. Gran doesn't have a throw bait, and I hold that against him. Right? Things like this. Gran doesn't have a throw bait. There are characters like that who don't have like a good way to like like a command. I say Beatrix having a command grab is really good for her, right? Having a 50-50 in this game is very special. Lots of characters don't have a way to just like force you immediately to do something besides throw, which has, a lot of built-in weaknesses. Kat is like the only character in the video game who does not have one of these, where it just doesn't fucking matter. She stands out here, and the entire cast loses to her. Right? The entire cast loses to Catalina if she does this. Fuck the 50-50. Daring to hit a button is the 50-50. What are you talking about? Limited? Where are the limitations? There's no good button to press against an 8-frame Far M that hits you from... Look at this, man. This almost hits her from past the clock. What are the limitations? Where are the limitations? Right? He's very simple, right? Maybe that's why, like, some people don't really view this as that good. It's like, oh, she just stands here? Oh, so she just stands here? Right? Yeah, it's out of BC range. That's a damn good point, Mike. He's out of fucking BC range here. You can't even BC this Far M from here, I don't think. Right? Like, if Galleon BCs, did she whiff? No, okay. Thank God it extends the hurt box. Oh my God. Okay. I was like, yeah. Oh, it extends her hurt box. Thank fucking Christ. I mean, God, you think you're gonna get your side swap off on counter hit BC from over there? Right? It's like, I think Catalina is like, the strength is very 5U cancel. Still true. But at least she has to at least cancel, right? She can't just like be out of your BC range. But again, this is the like a hard knockdown BC where you get nothing. No side swap, no nothing, right? So like, I think it's like simple, so people don't really like maybe understand. Like, it's not as in your face as Grimnir knocking you down and putting you in a 50-50 and like, what am I supposed to do? And I got my ship mixed and I'm dead and right? Or like Vasaraga Soul Forge walking at you and you have no options except to die. I think that those are a lot more in your face. Catalina stands here and all of your options are gone. Catalina stands here and all of your options are gone or very bad. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, it's not crazy, it's not bombastic, right? But Catalina stands here, and you can't do anything anymore. Congratulations. Right? So, no, I don't think personally, I think, if anything, even though everyone thinks Catalina is very good, by and large, it seems, I think Catalina is kind of underrated by the community. I think Catalina is genuinely, like, calling Catalina like a top 10 character, I think is genuinely underrating her. Catalina is a top 1 in the game contender, in my opinion. The only character, honestly, who I think is even competing with her for that spot is Grimnir. Right? I don't even, like, Vasaraga's not doing that, Versuja's not doing that, I don't know who else he thinks up there, but the only character even competing with her for that top 1 spot is Grimnir, in my opinion. Your character is not immune to hot lady night pressure? Yes. Anyway. So that's a very... I might have to cut that out, make it its own video about Catalina, man. But Vasaraga... Oh, so, yeah, sorry. Zeta lost her fuzzy. That's a big deal. Now, again, is Zeta dead? Is she horrible? Is she awful? No. But it is very funny that Zeta does not have a character portrait here, and in my opinion, she is by far the biggest loser of the patch. She had, like, the best 50-50 in the entire game, and it's just gone now. Now, she does still have, really good corner carry. Rhapsody is still a very silly reversal, right? She has, good if slow normals, especially her mediums, right? Like, she's got a Grimnir's FGQ was better. Didn't it only work in the corner? Or am I misremembering? Didn't Grimnir's fuzzy only work in the corner, or am I wrong? No? Oh, okay. Fair enough. I mean, she had one of the best. I think Grimnir's was very good as well as true. But I guess, yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it. They're both really good. They were both like, they were the best, like, looping mixes in the game, and Zeta's just gone, right? Grimnir's is too, but Grimnir has workarounds for that, right? It worked anywhere where he had seal for confirm. I mean, all Zeta needed was a knockdown, right? His couldn't be rolled on JH. I mean, roll out, sure, but yeah. Honestly, that sounds comparable to me. I know Grimnir having seal up is not much of a prerequisite, but it is still a prerequisite compared to Zeta's I got a knockdown literally ever, right? Anyway, so this is a big nerf. This is the biggest nerf. In fact, there's not a character who really got, like, their shit pushed in this patch. This is probably the biggest nerf in the entire patch, is this 50-50 being gone from Zeta. Is she still good? Yes. Doesn't it say she still has her fuzzy? Did I misread that? No, so what she still has is, specifically, what this patch is doing is it's making it so that if you are rising, right, during the rising portion of a jump, you can no longer overhead people with your air normals. What this is saying is after Pogo, if you cancel Pogo into rising mid-air attacks, you can still double overhead people, right? This is a separate sort of like high-low thing Zeta had. This is still here, right? Yeah, exactly. J, U, and H will hit. Like if you, because Pogo bounces you up, you are now in the rising part of a jump, and you can cancel that into like JH, right? So you can go like a little double overhead thing. Zeta could always do this. JU into H, that still works. The fuzzy, it's the JU itself, if JU is rising, right? Like the fuzzy was you would do like your deep hitting JH or something like that, and then rising JU, right? That doesn't work anymore, and that was kind of her fuzzy because that it's only things canceled out of JU. I argue Percy is as good as Cat. I think Percy's really good. I might underrate Percy a little bit. I think Percy's strong, certainly. I personally wouldn't go that far. I think Flame Carpet is fucking nuts for sure. Right? I think Flame Carpet is certainly insane. But yeah, so Zeta, probably the biggest loser of the patch, actually. Right? Jam or JH both work for Zeta. Yeah, as long as you just have, as long as it's canceled out of JU like this, it still works. Right? So again, Vasaraga, right, is the biggest winner of the patch, obviously, right? Vasaraga was already a pretty solid character, and now he is just, I put some more thought into it. I put some more thought, because at first I was like, oh my god, what do they do to Vasaraga? And then I was like thinking about it a little bit more, and I was like, what? Is it really that good? And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, yes, it is that good. We can talk about Voss. He's mentioned explicitly in the patch notes here. I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Oh, hey, you have my rank distribution up? Avaris, yes, we're going to talk about that in a second. I was going to give you a shout out. That is a really, really, really good post. I'm gonna talk about that after we're done doing this. Because I think it's got a lot of very, I love how detailed you made it. I think it's got a lot of very interesting takeaways because of how many different like lenses you had on it. It's great, man. I think we're definitely going to talk about it after. So here's the thing, right? Obviously, Vasaraga's damage went even higher this patch, right? His advantage state got even better with the Soul Forge changes, things like this. These matter. But the reason that I like genuinely like where I was like, okay, you know what? That's on me. Like it's like we're here, right? We're here. Like Vasaraga is a top tier character now. Is because what this patch really did that helps a lot for Voss, I think, is it shores up his weaknesses, right? Of which he had not many, but very significant ones, right? Vasaraga, his defense gets significantly better in this patch, because if you remember, I know I've always been, you know, in the eyes of many people, the world's greatest Vasaraga down player, right? But I've always said, before this patch, that Vasaraga has the worst defense in the game. And why do I say that? Because it's like, well, you know, he has U-Tackle, and U-Tackle's broken, and he has an invincible command grab, and he's got these armor moves and stuff like that, and, you know, it's broken, right? But I usually, you know, this isn't a reversal, it's armored on frame 5. This is like a, you know, 26 frame reaction check DP, right? It's the only UDP in the game that not only can you save jab it, you can do 2 close L's in a row and still save jab this thing. Like, his reversals are not very good, right? But you will remember, I've been very consistent on this, right? You will remember that even, you know, multiple patches ago, I always said Vasaraga's best defensive option was not necessarily U-Tackle, right? I mean, this technically was his only frame 1 invuln thing, so he needed it, right? But like the funny thing Voss could do a lot of the time is this, right? This was Vasaraga's like really, like Vasaraga, like this right here, the steppers out of the corner, is Vasaraga's like most oppressive defensive tool in my opinion. Now, of course, this still has the same problem as U-Tackle, where it is, right? Where it's 5 frame armor startup. Right, he doesn't get this right away. But this, unlike U-Tackle, where if you block this, right, Vasaraga just dies, and that actually became even more the case this patch, where the U-Tackle pushback when blocking the second hit has been reduced when the first hit whiffs. So what this used to be, right, is back in the day, Vasaraga U-Tackle pushed you so far away on block. We're talking like 1.3 patch, right? It pushed you so far away on block that like only characters, and he was -6. Only characters with very good Pharrells, like this fucking bitch right here, right, could reasonably punish it on block. So then what they did in the 1.5 patch is they made it so that if you blocked this first punch here from Voss, right, then he ended up this close to you, which meant everyone got an auto combo, and like people who got, you know, 6-frame close M's had like a close auto combo on him, right? So, you know, that was a nerf to U-Tackle, right? And then what they did in this patch is now even if you don't block that first part, he still is fully in, like he's still here, right? He's still like everyone gets a punish on this. So U-Tackle has actually been nerfed as a defensive option, even though the reward on it has been buffed with how far M works. But this stepper, yes, with armor specifically, right? With armor specifically, this is Vassaraga's best defensive tool, right? I've always been consistent on this, right? When he has Soul Forge up, this is his best defensive option, because unlike U-Tackle, where you die on block, this puts Vassaraga in his win condition, right? This is like a straight up, whoop, on hits, you die, and on block, Vassaraga's in his win condition now, right? Like, that's like, it's an instant Una reverse card. Now, the thing is, it was kind of uncommon. It was hard for Vassaraga to find Soul Forge when he was in the corner, right? Can Vass use U-Step like H-Step? A little bit. On block, he's minus, right? Safe, but minus. It can help him get out of the corner. This is usually only good for like really, like if you need armor that's like real far away. Like we're talking Catalina, again, coming up here, right? Catalina being like out here, right? This is where Voss would 2-2 you, because the odds that you can hit him in like the 7-frame armor startup or whatever are low. But, like, it's not, no, this is worse than H-Step straight up. Unless you don't have Soul Forge, right? Obviously, you don't have Soul Forge, H-Step is awful, right? But with Soul Forge up, his 2-2-H was his most oppressive defensive tool. The thing is, last patch, it was kind of uncommon for Vassaraga to have Soul Forge when he's on defense, right? Because many times, he either would have been getting his ass beat, so he can't really get into Soul Forge, right? Or even if he did get Soul Forge, maybe he, like, spent it on something, he like EX tackled you in the corner, you know, he like misjudged, he did this, and you back through him, and now he doesn't have Soul Forge anymore. Or maybe he like tried a Soul Forge option and you smacked him out of it, right? He like tried to do this and you hit him in the first 5 frames and he died, something like that. It was very often that Vassaraga didn't really have Soul Forge as often when he was on defense. Now, right, even if, say Vassaraga has this exact scenario, right, where he does this, and you block it and throw him, right? When he wakes up here, he still has one last hurrah. He still has one last little bit of Soul Forge. You saw it, like, he still gets to maybe try one more Soul Forge option. And even that, like, yes, you can just meaty him again, right? But the fact that, again, the fact that he has that option on deck is so much more worthwhile. And I mean, God forbid, if that's not, and this is the worst case, by the way, right? If Vassaraga just happened to get Soul Forge and you push him to the corner while he had the full bar up, right? He gets like 2 or 3 tries at doing some shit like this before he's out of it, right? And again, remember, this is where we talk about the risk-reward of this in particular. Again, I personally don't really see U-Tackle as like an insane option, or this is an insane option, or something like that. This in particular, the risk-reward on this, Vassaraga only needs to get you, like he needs to get you to block this once. And then he very easily can snowball the entire round from there, right? So if he had just had Soul Forge, he got it in neutral, maybe you like hit him for it after he got it, you punished him, you pushed him to the corner, something like that, right? He gets like 2 or 3 tries at this. You can like meaty him out of it like twice or 3 times or something. At least, you know, this and then maybe a different armor move or something like that before he actually needs to, before he actually like fully pays the price and has to be Soul Forge this Vassaraga in the corner, right? So these Soul Forge buffs, specifically making it so that it's this gauge where he gets this. He gets like 2 or 3. If you hit him a lot, he gets 2. If you hit him once, or you put him in a long animation, he gets 2. If you hit him once, he gets 3 per charge. Is a huge defensive buff to Vassaraga, right? It's a huge defensive buff and a neutral buff to Vassaraga. And a neutral buff, by the way, in the sense that, again, if he gets Soul Forge, if he just tries to tackle and you, like, hit him out of it or something, he doesn't just lose his Soul Forge. Now, he gets to try multiple times. It's also an offensive buff because you can, like, block this, like a charged heavy, and he still gets Soul Forge. It's a buff everywhere. But where I care about it the most is that it's a defensive buff to Vassaraga, who, before this patch, I would have said, had the worst defense in the game unequivocally. Now, his defense is still not amazing, right? But taking a character's biggest weakness and mitigating it significantly is, I mean, for a character where their strengths are as strong as Vassaraga, even last patch, I would have told you Vassaraga has some of just the best win, like, his, like, advantage state, as a Smash player would say, his win condition, is one of the strongest in the whole game. you in the corner, Voss doing this is like one of the least fucking interactive things I've ever, like, you can't brave counter, you can't really mash, but you have to mash, because if you don't, he'll command grab you, right? This is a horrifying situation, right? There's not a single character in the game that is not actively looking for the nearest gun to end their life when Vasaraga has them here. This got even better this patch, but also, when his strengths are that strong, taking his biggest weakness and making it, like, pretty, like, much better is a big deal. And that's not the only defensive buff Vasaraga got here either, by the way, is the thing. 5M, right? 5M. This is just, I mean, this is just straight up one of the best far H's in the game, right? You can think of this as a far H,
Very
right?
good on.
We're talking about the silly character, yes. This is essentially a far H. It's heavy attack level. It clashes with heavies. It's an 11 frame far H that's this big, right? Now, mind you, just for all you were talking about earlier, right? This is just a worse version of Catalina's far H. I feel like I'm fucking losing my mind sometimes because motherfuckers will say, like, you know, man, Vasaraga far H is so insane. How did they allow this button in the game? And then they'll turn around and say Catalina's not that good, right? Because, like, this is basically a slightly bigger, I think. Slightly bigger, I think. Let's see here. Is this slightly bigger than Cat's far H? I think it is. Right? Like, Cat far H is hitting from, like, right under the infinity sign right there. He can probably hit from a little further out, right? Yeah. There's like a slightly bigger version of Catalina's far H that's 2 frames slower, right? So I just wanna point that out, right? I just wanna point that out, right? Like, this is what they did to Vasaraga was they gave him a comparable button to Catalina, and everyone wants it removed from the video game. I know we already got past the Catalina portion, but like this character, this one, right? No, this one right here. This character is not. This character's not okay, right? But yeah, so his 5M's crazy, right? And what this does is it also helps Vasaraga on defense a lot, right? If you're trying to pressure Vasaraga from out here, now, to be fair, this is where Vasaraga's defense was at its strongest last patch too, right? Because when you're spaced out like this, you can't just do like the close L-ing him to death that kills all of Vasaraga's reversals, right? So to be fair, it was a bad idea to pressure Vasaraga in the Grand Blue Zone last patch too. Right? You just wouldn't do that last patch. It's a bad idea. That's where all of the Soul Forge options and U-Tackle and all of this are most effective, right? So, to be fair, this matters less as a defensive buff than a neutral buff, right? But it is also another really good option that Vasaraga has in the Grand Blue Zone, right? So it takes where his defense was strongest, it got even stronger. Where his defense was weakest, it got significantly better with the Soul Forge changes, right? And while U-Tackle has been nerfed, like in terms of the risk on it, because even if they block only the second bit out here in the Grand Blue Zone, right, that you still get mauled by any character, not just ones with good far Ls. It is also worth noting that what 5M does is it also increases Vasaraga's reward on this, right? He did not used to get, like, a very consistent high damage combo off U-Tackle in the corner like this. It was, like, finicky, it would drop a lot, and it certainly didn't do this much damage, right? And that's not even optimal, I'm sure, right? But Vasaraga was not that often getting that much when he hits you with U-Tackle. So, his defense got better in, like, its worst case scenario. His reward when he's right, even on some of his more situational tools, went up, and where his defense was already strong, it got even better. Why am I focusing so much on this patch and how it affected Vasaraga's defense? Because the character is kind of nuts everywhere else, right? The character was already kind of very good everywhere else, right? Like, again, maybe best offense, one of the best offensive structures, one of the most unfair offensive structures in the entire game, point blank period, even last patch, they got even better. And now, in this patch as well, insane neutral, right? Insane neutral. Like 5M is just, again, he has Catalina far H, which is not fair. He shouldn't have that. At the very least, you can say that's like Catalina's whole thing. Vasaraga should not have a Catalina far H comparable button, right? He does. His reward on a lot of his shit is also higher now because they gave him auto combo off of the stance for some reason. That's this, by the way, it's this, right? I think so. Is it? I think. Oh no. Is it? I forget. I think it's this. I forget what change exactly allows this. But like for some reason he gets this now. I think because he gets there a little quicker, so you're a little bit higher in the air still, right? But for some reason, Vasaraga gets auto combo after this now. I mean his mid screen as well, 5M as well, doing things like this. Oh, well, hold on. You gotta like micro walk it, I think, a little bit, like that, right? Voss just having that mirrorless entirely. I mean. I focused on his defense, but the reality is Vasaraga is just like Ladiva in that they tuned this guy up everywhere, right? They tune this guy up everywhere. His offense significantly better. His defense, which is the biggest thing about, because again, when you shore up the weaknesses of a character like this, it gets nuts, right? His defense significantly better. His neutral, which is probably the second worst thing about him, he was okay, but you know, he could struggle in certain matchups. Also significantly better. I mean, I don't think anyone needed me. Everyone knew he was going here, but I really do want to explain why. It's something that I've put a lot of thought into as to, like, you know, because there is a lot of just, even in the patches where Vasaraga, I think, was pretty unequivocally a bad character, like we're talking like pre-Versuja patch and stuff like that, people would still like doom about this guy way too much, right? So I always get a little, I've talked about a lot how, like, a lot of the times I feel like I have an opinion, it seems like a reasonable opinion in a vacuum, and then I look at the people who agree with me and I go, oh no, I'm surrounded by fucking psychos. Does that mean that my opinion is psycho, or is it just bad luck, right? And on Vasaraga being top tier now, this is kind of like, I have a very similar experience where I'm like, in a vacuum, it's obvious that they went way too far with this guy. He's so good now. But when I look around me, all the people that agree with me are like saying like insane, like inane shit. Like they just don't know how Vasaraga works, or they're, you know, like I don't know what's going on. Like they're saying Vasaraga's top tier for reasons that I find like genuinely absurd, right? So I'm like, I really sat there, I was like, wait, is it really, is he as good as I thought he was? Or am I just like getting like swept along with like the derangement syndrome that people have about like big bodies, right? But after sitting down, thinking about it in the comfort of my own room a little bit more, exactly, the dumbest guy you know just agreed with you. Exactly, like it's not that they are wrong or that I'm wrong. It's that, you know, they can have their opinions for the reasons they want, but excluding everything else, yeah, no, Vasaraga got better in every single way imaginable, and one of his biggest weakness, which was, you know, one of the biggest weaknesses that any character had in the game, got shored up immensely. He's insane now, right? He's very, very good. Still not as good as Catalina, by the way. Still not as good as Grimnir. Think about, like, he's very good. He's very, very good. Very, very, very strong character, and definitely the single biggest winner of the patch, unequivocally, I think. Nar, I didn't think about you. You don't like fighting Vasaraga, right? Isn't Vasaraga a bad matchup for your ass? I feel like Voss was a bad matchup when you were way better than him. Now that he's better than you, I feel like, I don't know. Narn is still very good, obviously. Maybe she likes fighting Ladiva, but Vasaraga is more relevant than Ladiva is in the meta now, certainly, right? I feel like, yeah. I feel like Voss is quite bad for Narm, yeah. Voss is quite bad for Narm, and Voss is way more prevalent now. And Voss was quite bad for Narm when Narm was, like, obviously better than Voss. And now Vasaraga, in my opinion, is obviously better than Narm. So, one of your, terrible news, one of your worst matchups just became a top tier, right? I don't think Narm is, like, hurt that hard. She's not in the patch notes herself, but... Wait, what? I think Vasaraga really likes fighting Narmaya, personally. I think otherwise she's probably unchanged. I don't know that she really cares about... I mean, Ladiva is maybe good for her, but Vasaraga matters more, certainly, right? Narm obviously better than Voss. I think... Okay, no, I was saying last patch, Narm was obviously better than Voss, I think, right? And even when last patch, Narmaya was obviously better than Voss, even then, I thought that, that he was a bad matchup for her. Now, that I think Narm is still better than Voss... I don't. Even if you do think that, their power levels are much closer, and even when like she was way further above him, he was a bad matchup for her. So I would assume that that now she probably is not a huge fan of that. Now again, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not that big of a deal. But like, you know, heartbreaking news. One of your worst matchups is now one of the best characters in the game and incredibly relevant in tournaments. Kind of a similar thing for Sora's as well, I think. I didn't fully buy the train that Sora's lost to Vasaraga last patch, but I do think that he loses pretty bad to him this patch, right? Sora's is mostly, I mean, also Ladiva is one of Sora's worst matchups as well, right? So I don't think he likes fighting Beelzebub very much either, right? So I think in general, a lot of Sora's bad matchups are just stronger characters now, and you're gonna see them more often. I still think Sora's is a very good character, and he himself is not in the patch notes at all, right? He didn't get, like, he doesn't have a fuzzy, stuff like that. Sora's doesn't like to see Voss or Ladiva, yes. So I do think Sora's is a little bit worse off in this patch. But I don't think he's like biggest losers tier or anything like that, right? Listen. Is Zoe forgotten? Zoe's matchup chart pre-patch is already really bad. She had a lot of slight losing matchups and a small number of even or winning ones. This patch didn't change things that made her two worst matchups bad. Versuit, if anything, is harder now. Ladiva, Voss, and Vayne are all winning matchups. To me, honestly, kind of similar to Lancelot, I'm just going to put Zoe in Forgotten, right? I'm going to put Zoe in Forgotten, I think. I think just like Lancelot, no one plays this guy, and Cygames doesn't care about her, and they don't think about her, and they probably will never. I mean, they gave her a Battle Pass skin. She's the only character, I think, who got a Battle Pass skin without any buffs. She's just not there. They removed her from the video game. Tubby is the only person who still has Zoe on his character select screen, I fear. They really buffed his 3 worst matchups. Yeah. Now, I think Sora's is still very good, but it's certainly these. He does not like seeing either of these, and probably this guy either, right? They know Diaphone likes Zoe, so they had to forget about her? I guess so. Cagliostro. I mean, she lost a Fuzzy, right? So she was one of the characters who actually did use a Fuzzy every now and then. So at the very least, she goes here. I'm not really sure, actually, how Cagliostro feels about, like, Voss or Beelzebub. I imagine at this point, she probably doesn't love Vossaraga too much. Not sure about Bubs. Ladiva, I think, is, like, slightly winning for her. Maybe even a little bit better than that, or something like that. But I think mostly, I mean, Cagliostro, I don't think her matchup chart got, like, significantly worse or something like that. I think it's just more so that she lost a Fuzzy, right? She was one of the characters who had a Fuzzy, who actually used it, like, with some amount of regularity. I believe it was off U-Trap, right? So, I mean, losing that hurts. Honestly, her, like, last patch, losing her fucking combo limit reset super combo is probably a bigger deal, but Kag's a little worse now than she was before, right? I don't know about you, Fox Girl. I mean, I know you like fighting Ladiva. Bubs can pull her from behind her traps, so yeah. You like fighting Ladiva. I don't think you like fighting this guy very much. I don't think you like fighting this guy very much. I don't know. I'm gonna again, Yuel and Luane both are the characters that I know the least about. I'm gonna put Yuel in essentially the same. I don't know that she's changed that much. I also don't know that I have like a strong opinion that Yuel really needs buffs. I know if you've seen where I put her in the tier list, but again, every time I say Luane and Yuel, I don't really know, right? I don't really know. Isn't Layul's far H 3 hits? No, her far M is 2. Her far H is 1, no? Wouldn't wish Yuel to Masters on my worst enemy. I want to play Yuel to Masters. I think Yuel to Masters would be fun. Yuel far H is 3 hits? Is it really? I thought it was. Isn't this the 1 stab? Far M is 2 hits, no? Her far H isn't the forward advancing one? Yeah, it's far M, right? Her far M's 2 hits, though, I thought. Is it 3? That's something. Far M's 2 hits? Okay, that's what I thought. But yeah, so Uno? It's close H, that's 3? Right. Yes, she has a multi-hit close H. Yeah. She got a little buff from that, right? She did get a little buff from that. But again, this, I don't really count, this is like, you know, it's like a 150 damage bump on some of these characters' combos. It's not nothing. It's literally something. But like, if this is like the main thing that changed for you in the patch, I think you're essentially the same, right? Yuel benefits from this, like Seox, Beelzebub, Anila, a bunch of characters like that. But like, they can let their full close H rock, kind of. I meant mostly to break Voss's armor. Yeah, Yuel Voss, I'm not really sure. I think I've, you know, when I was playing Voss, that's a minor damage buff, not a buff to her gameplay. Yeah. When I was playing Voss, it didn't feel that bad, but I also think like Yuel does have some decent answers to stance, but also, you know, potentially you can get kind of mauled. I'm not sure. I think Uno's probably slightly up, right? I think Uno's probably slightly up. Voss armor is 4 hits. No, it's 3. He takes 2 hits and breaks, and the third one breaks him. But if it's your close H, then you're close enough he's gonna kill you, right? Is it? Yes. I'll show you right now. Vossaraga's armor. So if I have him just like, I don't know, walk at me like this, right? Galleon is EX Fireball, right? 3 hits. If he walks, 1, 2, 3, right? The third one breaks it. Voss, he armors the first 2 hits and dies to the last one. Unless he does this is infinite armor no matter whether or not he has Soul Forge, and stuff like this also is just infinite armor, right? You can't break U-Tackle once it starts. Okay, so yeah, I think Uno, I feel like maybe slightly up, right? I feel like Uno probably, you know, I don't know about Vossaraga is the one thing, but I feel like he probably likes Ladiva and Bubs both, right? I would have to imagine he likes fighting both of them. Uno can parry Bubs, dive kicks, and negate his zoning. Probably doesn't mind seeing Bubs more. Yeah, and I think he does like fighting Ladiva to an extent. I'm not sure how he feels about Voss. I think Uno can be one of those characters who just doesn't let Voss get started in the first place, right? Very good full screen gameplay and just all around character. This is a strong character, right? So I think he probably doesn't mind, like on some of these characters that have like more unbalanced kits, Uno is the most all-round character in the game, right? In that he can zone with the best of them, he can rush down with the best of them, he can play mid-range with the best of them, and many, like, that's probably his weakest element, actually, but he can still play mid-range very well, right? Uno he does everything. So with these characters that are a little bit more jagged, like Ladiva and Voss and stuff like that, he tends to have something he can do, some place on the screen he can be, some game plan he can stick to, or something like that, that can cause them some trouble, right? Can't Uno break armor with 623H, or is that unrealistic? I don't think Uno is in the breaking armor train. I would say Uno is in the stopping Voss from ever getting Soul Forge train, or at least making him take so much damage for it that it helps tilt the round in his favor. Which, again, that's the better train to be on right now. Everyone who was on the, my plan is I let Vasaraga get Soul Forge, and then I kill him when he has it. Everyone that was their plan to deal with Soul Forge is significantly worse off in this patch, because you have to do that multiple times before Voss actually runs out of it. Right? I'd say Yule is slightly better this patch, because while almost everyone lost their 50-50, Hylo with Fuzzies, he's actually special for being one of the characters with a 50-50. That's a fair point. You could make that argument that just anyone with a 50-50, it's a little bit more special now, right? Yeah, like, relative to the field, that does make her a little... I'm gonna keep... I see what you mean. I think it's not a bad idea. I'm gonna keep it in somewhat... I'm gonna keep it somewhat the same, but that's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. Eustace. I mean, I forgot about him. I kind of want to say they forgot about him too. I mean, he had a Fuzzy, I think, but I don't know if he did it. Was it off you? Could he? I know he could Fuzzy with you grenade, but he also had better. Eustace, yeah. Does anything matter? I mean, I feel like you don't like. Despite Eustace being who he is, I feel like he doesn't necessarily enjoy any of these matchups too much. I don't think Eustace is great. I don't think he's bad. I'm gonna say Eustace is the same. I don't think he's quite. I think he's probably the same. I don't know. I think he's probably the same. I don't think so. There are better things Eustace could do than the Fuzzy. Yeah, like he had one, but it was like really weird, and he also had like other ways to do pseudo-real high-low mix with U-Grenade anyway. Seox, brother, I have terrible news. Seox is in a rough spot, man. Eustace isn't like Ladiva and Voss, mostly because he gets stat checked on RPS when they get in. Yep. Seox is Ladiva's best matchup. I'll tell you that for free. I would say he's at least in that discussion. And I can't imagine he likes fighting Vasaraga either very much. Seox's matchup chart got worse in this patch for sure. Bubs, maybe he doesn't really care that much. Vayne, he probably doesn't really care that much. Though again, Vayne is like way down there in terms of relevance compared to the other three characters we're talking about, right? But like, Seox is a little worse. He's still very good, right? He's still very good, but like like some of his worst matchups are getting better. Vera's probably the same. Vera, does she hate fighting Voss? She might hate fighting Voss. Hope your stream goes well. I can't watch because I'm in class. Thanks, Juniper. It's going well so far. I'm having a good time. Hope you guys are as well. Oh, Beelzebub, though. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, crap. Oh, man. Oh, no, this has to be so bad for her, right? He has to just put her in the fucking... He has to shove her in a locker and never let her get out, huh? This is bad, right? That's gotta be real rough. I don't know that she minds Ladiva that much. I don't know that she... I mean, maybe she kind of doesn't love Voss either, right? I'm okay with... I'm willing to say that she's... I think Beelzebub in particular, right? I think Beelzebub is going to shove Vera in a blender and never let her get out. I have to imagine, especially with his zoning being one of the things that's getting buffed. She doesn't like Cat, ironically, yeah, but Cat is, always been meta relevant, right? That's not new. Though I guess she's even more so, you could argue that. But yeah, like, he probably just, Beelzebub especially probably puts her in a blender and kills her, and I can't imagine she loves Vasaraga too much. Breaks maybe missed the Vera, why isn't she worse? No, I mean, I thought about it for a second. I think this guy probably bullies her really hard, right? This guy probably bullies her really hard. So I think that, like, even just him, this has got to be one of her worst matchups that, again, got buffed, right? In a similar way to, like, Sora's and Seox on, like, the Ladiva and Voss train. She's on the Beelzebub train, for sure. A lot of the rushdown characters seem like they're a bit weaker now. It's what happens when you buff the big bodies, right? Like, sort of these, like, bruiser / rushdown characters losing to grapplers is that's like, that's the archetypal thing, right? So like when your grappler and your half grappler get stronger, it's gonna be rough. for the rushdown characters. That's going to be good for the zoners. This is also another patch with like some zoner buffs, right? AB, by the way, thanks for the follow. Bubs is obviously also right up here. I mean, Bubs is a character who was strong enough. Like, Bubs is strong enough that you could justify nerfing this character. Like, if... I think it would have been weird. I think there's certainly, like, before this patch, there were a lot of characters that were better than Bubs. But, like, Bubs was a character where, when I saw him here, I was like... Initially, I was like, Bubs? Nerfs? That's weird. Like, why would they nerf Beelzebub? He doesn't really... And then I looked, and they actually... It's like 16 lines of buffs. This character's pretty good. This character was pretty good before this patch, even. This is the best character that got buffed in the patch, for sure, right? Like, he was better than Vasaraga and Ladiva last patch, and now he's just, you know, what the fuck? Yeah, like, his fireballs are all, like, the charge version, the charge times are significantly faster. He's way better in Fireball Wars because of how they changed how his fireballs clash with things now, where they won't just pass by them. They'll sit there and wait, and they'll eat your whole fireball, and then they'll move, right? So, like, he's way better in Fireball Wars, which is a weakness of his. Karma, he has like, better pressure and combos. I know his optimal damage and his conversions did in general get a lot better, and Bubs already had a lot of combo freedom. He's not as buffed as hard. They did not buff him as hard as they did Ladiva and Vasaraga, but again, he was significantly better than both of them, right? Well, he was significantly better than Ladiva. He was, like, I would still call him, like, probably a good, like, half to like 3/4 of a tier higher than Vasaraga last patch too, right? So him just getting like significant, like not just like little things, significant buffs at all on a character like this feels kind of weird. He is one of these like new like meta-defining characters that exists as it currently stands, right? Lyle's like the same, probably. Lyle's essentially the same, right? Okay, for Zeta's Arvis, Spear W plus on block. Lyle's still very good. He's been very good, even in 2.0 after they nerfed him, he's still very good. I mean, his matchup with Ladiva got a little worse because of how 6XL2M is a really bad idea to do into Ladiva now, certainly. He's got some options against Vasaraga, right? I mean, Vasaraga got stronger, but I don't think Vasaraga is inherently like a horrible matchup for Belial or anything like that. Same thing with Bubs. Like, again, Belial's one of these characters that is, he is just kind of very all-round, right? So he doesn't have any, like, truly awful matchups as far as I'm aware. So he's about the same. Belial's good. He was very good. He's still very good, and he continues to be very good after this patch, right? Now Avatar Belial on the other. I just realized I have not put any thought into you whatsoever since the patch. Because this guy, he has such a weird matchup. He has such a weird matchup with the big bodies, right? In that, it's like, in theory, he should have a pretty good matchup into like Ladiva or something like that, but he just kind of fucking dies. And I feel like that kind of fucking dying is a lot more common. Are you the same? Are you a little weaker? Are you a little... I don't know about you. I had like some like pre-canned thoughts ready for a lot of the characters. I did not think about you at all. You already explode, so about the same? You got even more volatile? That's probably a bad thing. Yeah, because I think, okay, I think I've consolidated my thoughts. I think Abel, like, power level-wise, is about the same, like, you know, most characters, they didn't get touched. But I do think that these matchups tend to be some of his most volatile, right? Matchups like these are some of his most volatile matchups, even if you might win them on paper. It's like when we talk about tournament characters, consistency does matter a lot, right? And that is Abel's sort of biggest weakness, and I think is maybe slightly exaggerated running into these sort of characters, right? It's like, you just could very easily just lose, especially in a 1-2 format, right? You might just die. Now, you might also, like, Abel is unironically one of the best zoners in the game, right? So genuinely, you might also just never let Voss get started, you might never let Ladiva get started, but with them being significantly better in neutral now in particular, I think this is where this hurts Abel a bit, right? I think his matchups with these characters got even more volatile, and they became much more meta-relevant. Not a big deal. Not a big deal, right? Miku Pipe Bomb MP3, yeah, not a big deal, but I think he maybe is a little more volatile than he used to be, right? He does well into everyone who got buffed, doesn't he? Here's the, like, this is my thing, right? Yes, right? I just, in theory, right? In theory, Abel, I think, has a... Oh, sorry, I bumped my mic. Abel, in theory, I think, has a really good matchup into Ladiva, right? And a pretty good matchup into Vasaraga. But, like, again, like, Abel is the only character where he's so volatile that I genuinely feel like I have to take, like, the idea that, like, listen, man, in a 1-2, in a bracket, right? Like, these are still... while those matchups... Like, those matchups are the most volatile for him, and they got more volatile this patch. And the characters got better, too. and they're more meta relevant. So he probably does less good into him than he used to, right? And of all of his 10-10 matchups, these were like some of the most 10-10 matchups that he has, right? Abel can also just kill you, absolutely, right? You never want to run into an Abel in a bracket, right? You never want to fight, you never want to be like in your TNS run or something like that, and you see like a good Abel. It's just like, because you just can't tell what's going to happen, right? There's no way, unless you're like Matera or something who just kind of blows him up, like there's just no way to like really be confident in how an Abel match is going to go. But I think that hurts the Abel just as much as it hurts you. And his most volatile matchups getting more meta relevant, I think does matter, right? So Anila is probably a little forgotten. It's probably about the same. Anila's probably about this. I don't think. No, I'm gonna say Anila is essentially the same because I don't subscribe to. I don't think I would like. Basically, I want quality of life changes for Anila mostly. I think, right? I want quality of life changes for Anila. I'm not on the Anila is like bottom 2 or 3 or even 4 or 5 or 6 train myself, right? So I think Anila's is probably about the same. I think they need to hurry up and make her like 214H Link from max distance far L and far H already, right? But I don't think like Anila is not a character that I'm necessarily awaiting buffs for. She isn't awful, but she's forgotten. Forgotten for me is characters that I am awaiting buffs for that didn't get them, right? Like I'm like every patch I'm like, are we gonna give Vikala something now? Are we gonna give Lance Zoe? Are we gonna give him something? And Anila to me is not that. I'm looking for some quality of life buffs, but I don't think she could be better. Certainly, she's not great, but I don't think Anila's power level is at a place where I like, you know, the bottom 10 and rising is where the game should be. I don't know about all that, right? But yeah, like I don't think Anila needs significant power buffs, you know. So I'm just gonna keep her at essentially the same. I think she doesn't like fighting Bubs very much. She's maybe okay with the diva. It's kind of hard. I mean, everyone hates fighting Vasaraga, but I don't think it's like particularly horrible for her, right? No. Zoe does not need buffs. Let me tell you. Look up Ixingus, probably EU's best Zoe. Listen, man, I think there's a lot of characters who are not great who people perform with amazingly, right? Siegfried is... Again, a lot of these, like, strong all-rounder characters didn't get touched with no fuzzies, right? Escape nerfs? I don't think so. I don't think... There's a lot... At this point in the game, there's a lot of characters that I want to get nerfed before Siegfried's. Honestly, you could argue... I don't know that I'm... No, the thing is, the reason I don't think, especially like Siegfried and Belial just got nerfed, so you definitely like, even though Belial, I think you could still stand to tune him down a little bit more, I still think it's like he just got nerfed, right? He just got nerfed. So like he's not gonna get, like he's not fucking near, he's not gonna get nerfed 2 back-to-back patches, right? Why is Eustace not higher? He has bad defense, so no fuzzies is a buff. It buffs everyone though, right? No fuzzies buffs everyone, and Eustace having really shit defense, you did not need to 50-50 this guy to just kill him when he gets in the corner, right? No fuzzies buffs everyone's defense universally. I don't think it buffs Eustace's particularly more than anyone else's, right? Okay, so Nier Nier's an interesting one, man, because like I thought that Nier was gonna be substantial buffs, right? I thought I was gonna put Nier up here. Right, did she get buffed this patch? Yes, she did. So let's talk about Nier, right? So, well, okay. Nier got a bunch of good changes. And one, like, cripplingly bad nerf. And her bad matchups got buffed. It's so confusing, right? Because, you know, this Love's Redemption gauge, this actually is a nerf sometimes, a buff sometimes. Overall a buff, though. She spends less time in Deathless Nier. This is gigantic. This is a huge nerf. This is a gigantic nerf, right? Nier can throw people now. Oh my god. Oh my god, Nier can throw people. This is a gigantic nerf, right? So good for Nier. And again, spends less time in Deathless Nier, right? Spends less time in Deathless Nier, spends less time in Deathless Nier, stacking nerfs to her biggest weakness, which is stacking buffs to her biggest weakness, which is the biggest weakness that any character, the biggest single weakness that any character has in the entirety of Grand Blue is Deathless Nier. So giving her multiple buffs that make her spend less time in Deathless Nier is a really good thing, right? Nice buff to Far M, right? Not as game-breaking as the rest. I mean, it's a good button, and like going from 10 to 9 frames, that's a big deal, right? I'm not sure if that opens up conversions that didn't exist before, right? Maybe like max range counter hit 6XL or something like that. Like meaty counter hit 6XL is +9, so you can get Far M now, something like that, right? Nier is a character all about good buttons in the mid-screen and getting really high conversions off that mid-screen, so making her buttons even better is nice, and they did nerf a bunch of them, so a little bit of reversion is nice. Again, really big change, right? 5U, getting you, it used to give you no gauge, deathless near gauge on block, as far as I'm aware, and now it's been matched. It gives you the same that it would on hit, and the recovery has been increased. Huge, massive buff. It's going to make you spend less time in deathless near, right? Similarly so here for the charge one, similarly so here for the jumping one. Again, you can big buff. A lot of good nears will do like double reload combos, where like they end in JU into 5U, doubly buffed how long she's going to spend in how little she's going to spend in deathless near, right? Big buffs, right? Some changes here as well to like using M Misfortune as a combo starter, right? A little bit better combo routes with the DP in general, right? Without Death, they nerfed her UDP a little bit, but you know, that's to get the full cinematic, basically, is what it is, right? This, I believe, is actually a buff. Yeah, she's more plus, and she gets better Oki, right? So like, you know, some nice buffs here. This one sort of inconsequential nerf, but like, here's the thing, right? Like, we could talk, like, it's just such a big deal. Like, I know the way I'm talking about it, this is what I thought too, right? The way I'm talking about it, you would think like Nier is like the biggest winner of the patch, but like, dude, for reference, this used to go, M Ominous Turn is how far this used to go. Look at that. It's like halved. Like Death is big, so you might not notice, but like, look at where the end of Death is. Look at where like her skirt is, right? The end of where her skirt is flowing, or the end of where that aura is basically touching Nier, right? That aura is basically touching Nier, versus if we throw her on M, look at that. It's like a whole Death. Death is a very big model, right? It's bigger than Basaraga. Death is a very big, wide model, and this goes a whole Death less far. This was Nier's best move, in my opinion. Nier is about neutral control. Nier is about having, like, you know, the best mid-screen in the game, damn near, besides, like, Blade Level 5 Lucy and shit like that. Really good buttons to hold you down, and really good buttons to, like, once she hits you with those, get confirmation. Her biggest, best mid-range tool was this thing, right? And now, it's still, if it hits you, it goes its full distance. But, like, this shit used to hit from, like, I mean, where M would hit from, like, over here, probably, right? Look at that. Like, this shit used to hit from, like, 75% of the screen. This was Nier's best tool. For her biggest strength, the best part of that strength got kind of destroyed, right? The way it was described to me by Nier players, overall buffs to her worst matchups, massive nerf to her good matchups, right? But then here's the other thing too, right? Here's the other thing is that not only so like this is a huge nerf. The install buff is also kind of nice, by the way. This is a huge nerf. This is a gigantic nerf. These are all very good buffs, right? So like, overall, looking at just this, Nier is certainly better, right? I would say even with this being as big a nerf as it is, I would personally say Nier is still like moderately to like pretty noticeably better even with this. However, think back to undisputed top 1 Nier. Think back to when Nier was the best character in the game by a mile, right? Think back to when Nier was literally dog walking the entire roster. Even back then, right? Even back then, there were 2 characters who were not very good back then. Not very good at all back then. They were, you know, we're talking like, if we're talking about like 1.1 Rising and stuff like that, these were bottom 5, bottom 3 contender characters, right? But even back then, there were 2 characters that went by the names of Vasaraga and Ladiva, who gave Nier a disproportionately large amount of trouble for just how much ungodly stronger she was than them. Right? You could genuinely argue that the Nier Ladiva matchup was even like on fucking release, right? I also heard Fairy, yeah. You could argue, like, now I think it was still, Nier was so much better than Ladiva that I think it was still like slight advantage Nier, but like, what the fuck are we talking about? Similarly, Vasaraga gave Nier a lot of trouble back in the day. Now she would still beat his ass, but like, relative to Vas being like a bottom 5, bottom 10 character on release, and Nier being undisputed top 1, so good we've never seen a character like her before or since, right? They held their own decently well. Now here's the problem, right? Here's the problem, is Nier has since tumbled 30 spots on the tier list. And 2 of her, in my opinion, worst matchups have gotten significantly better, especially this motherfucker, right? And me personally, as well, one of the hardest things to deal with as Ladiva or Vasaraga in that Nier matchup was this fucking thing, right? I think that this being nerfed hurts a lot in the big body matchup as well, right? Now, she still has tools. She still has, like, better, you know, she can still, like, do things like far Hing and stuff like that. But, like, I think the nerf hits her pretty hard in both of these matchups. And again, you could argue that, you know, he's like, this sort of cancels out a lot of the buffs. He's only a little better. And a lot of her, like her 2 worst matchups maybe, or close to it, got significantly better, right? So I don't even really know what to say for Nier. Like, I want to say minor buffs overall still, right? I want to say it's crazy to see just how many things got better on Nier. Like again, right? Big buff. Gigantic, absurd, insane buff. Nice buff. Gigantic, absurd, insane buff. Gigantic, absurd, insane buff. Gigantic, absurd, insane buff. Right? And yet, he's like a little better. He's a little better, right? Because just huge compensation nerf and like some of her worst matchups becoming some of the best characters in the game. I thought when I first made, like, I was like, let's for fun, like, just make a tier list immediately after reading the patch notes. I moved Nier up like a tier and a half. I thought she got buffed as much as Vayne did. She didn't. I think the main thing that changes now is that I think Vikala is probably worse than Nier, for sure. Whereas last patch, I would have told you that I think Nier was worse than Vikala. So I think, you know, congratulations, Nier, you are bottom 2. She gets there. I mean, Grimnir is so weird, right? Because technically it is this. It is this, okay? I know. It's literally this, okay? He did get minor, not buffs, sorry. He did get minor nerfs. He lost his fuzzy. Now, Grimnir doesn't really need it. He doesn't really care, right? He used his, like, the little UCL trap into the 50-50 a lot of the times. But, like, there were situations where Grimnir would rather use the fuzzy, you know, it worked better in the mid-screen. You know, like, I think it was a more damaging thing if they had lower Brave points, right? Like, there were situations where it mattered, right? You know, like, he's a little bit worse. He's like, I want to put him at, like, the bottom of minor nerfs, because he's a little teeny bit worse. It's true. Grimnir, I think, he's a little worse. Grimnir sold his camera Urki and versus 99% of people. Did I say Urki? It was like I was Australian. Versus 99% of people are gonna have the reaction down for it. Yeah, but like, he is literally, technically, a little bit worse. He's a little bit worse. Escape nerfs. Now, you could very much argue that he deserved to get nerfed more, for sure, right? You could argue he deserved to get nerfed for sure, right? The universal change changed for everyone. True, but like Zeta, him and Zeta had basically the 2 best fuzzies in the video game, right? So like, losing it is a bigger deal. Like, they lost a stronger tool than most of the cast had. But like, he doesn't. Listen, technically he got a little nerfed, but I think for Grimnir being potentially like a best character in the game, right? You know, no, I'm gonna say Grimnir got minor nerfs. You can't bully me. Grimnir, he still got fuzzies. Let me tell you, isn't it? He has he's got the camera Oki. I had never heard it called that, but I do like that. He's got camera Oki. He can souls camera you. He got a little worse. Okay, he received very minor nerfs. That's not a fuzzy. Yeah. It's not. It's a 50-50. It's functionally it performs the same purpose, right? But to my understanding, it doesn't work in the mid screen, and also, again, he's worse. Okay, is he still, like, genuinely potentially the best character in the game? Sure, but he is worse. Okay, he is nerfed. So I'm gonna put him there because he is technically minorly nerfed. Okay. He's the same. Probably. He's about the same. I think he's probably about the same. I mean, I don't think he loves fighting Voss very much. That's not horrible. I mean, he's about the same, right? If Voss gets him in the corner, he's going to impregnate him. But like, same or like minor. Same. She doesn't like fighting Vasaraga very much. Same. About the same. Nothing major, right? Vayne, I think, goes in substantial buffs. Certainly, this character. I mean, we're talking a character that was most people's accepted bottom 1, right? We can talk about what changed with Vayne. He's also one of these ones that's named directly in the patch notes, right? First off, 5U is a real move now. 5U's real. It has armor until the attack ends. Big deal. It went from literally a joke move to one of the better 5Us in the entire game, and Vayne has real defense now. Congratulations. Vayne definitely in big nerfs. Excuse me. Say what now? The shield is about the same, right? Shield's a little better, technically. Like, shield's a little bigger, right? It's a little bigger. it blocks jump ins in particular a little better, right? But shield is this feels to me, fighting Vayne and looking at Vayne and everything, this is like a quality of life buff to shield. It's not like shield is suddenly some sort of godlike thing or something like that. And then another big thing actually that I didn't immediately notice when I was reading the patch notes, but that does matter, right, is Vayne's damage went up in this patch. Vayne's mid-screen got like noticeably better, right? Vayne's like like the fact that he gets auto combo off of this now, right? That's kind of a big deal, man, right? Like he didn't get that before, right? Vayne actually has like some of the higher just like resourceless damage that in the video game now, right? And I don't believe he could do this last patch. So I mean that's kind of like 5k like that. That's kind of a big deal, right? And yes, I mean if he wants to spend some U skills as well, he can start getting some really good corner carry as well, right? I don't know exactly what it is that he gets off this. Is it like, I forget. Does he do this first? He does this first into this and then auto combo? No, something like that. But yeah, he has do auto combo into 2-2U, into auto combo into 6-2-3H, into 2-2U. You can get auto combo after this? Are you sure? How plus are you on when this hits? Let me not counter hit. Basically do 6-2-3H into close M auto combo last patch required micro lock. Oh, I see. 6XL? Oh, right, yeah, it's plus 10. Gotcha. So you got this. Oh, hold on, I'm bad. 2-frame link, too hard for the old man. Wait. Wait, let me make him crouch just because I'm a little baby and this is too hard for me. I still can't get it. 3-frame link, too difficult. There you go. 2, 3. So you did, and then this, and then what? Is it auto combo from there into what now? Into like wild beat or something, like that. Even that's still that might not even be auto combo to wild beat. Yeah, that's still pretty good, right? That is full screen right there. So his mid screen like this does. I mean, maybe it just makes the execution on it lower, right? This maybe just makes like maybe he could have done this last patch, but it still just makes it like completely brain dead now, right? You just do it and then you do auto combo. No micro walks, no nothing. There's no execution to it. So his mid screen got better. His defense got better. Shield got a little better. His fundamental gimmick is a little bit better, right? These energy destructions, I think, they do more damage. You know, so it's a little bit nice. So I mean, Vayne is just kind of. Oh, and also the wild beats. I think this is a little bit more consistent on. It's more punishable, but it's also more consistent to convert combos off of, which I think overall he probably does like that, right? I don't know how often this JU counter hit is gonna matter, but you know, it's something. So yeah, like Vayne's just a lot better now. Vayne, I've mentioned him kind of offhand as we've been going through this. He's not like as important or as good as some of these other like more patch-defining characters as it stands, right? But like Vayne was a straight-up bottom 1 contender. In fact, if you asked most people last patch who they thought was bottom 1, most people would probably tell you Vayne. And I mean, the biggest thing to me personally is breakthrough. Him having like an actual real defensive option that you have to respect now. This is just better Sora's 5U, basically. They gave him a version of Sora's 5U that is a little easier to whiff punish and like higher reward, right? So like he should be in biggest winners because he's now an actual character. I think he's a lot better. I'm gonna put him in substantial buffs, I think, right? Gimmicky, but he's unkillable with 5U. Yeah. I didn't realize that Vayne could link close L to you like that. Yeah. And then okay, so Beatrix. The more I think about this, right? I need like I just realized I don't have like a substantial nerfs. I don't have like, and Beatrix is still very good, right? Beatrix is still very good. But like, the more I think about it, the more I think that Beatrix probably, of all the characters that they nerfed, besides Zeta, Beatrix probably is the one that got hit the hardest, in my opinion, right? I just realized, yeah, I did not have, because no one really goes in here besides her, I think. Beatrix is like minor nerfs. I think Beatrix, like, yeah, Beatrix is still good, but I think genuinely, she's still good, but she feels those nerfs. Yes. There's a very big difference. Like, I don't want to, people are very knee-jerk when you say things, right? When I say that I think Beatrix got nerfed, like, significantly, I don't mean she's bad now. I think Beatrix is still, like, you know, very, very strong. If, like, borderline, like, sort of lower end the top tier, or, like, borderline top tier, something like that, right? But I do think that she gets hit quite a lot, actually. I think she gets hit quite hard by a couple of things, right? Well, what color should I make for this? Like a yellow? Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because it's going in reverse order, but it still works, right? So like, she is she's very good still. However, a couple of things they changed about her matter a lot more than I thought, right? Yeah, the big one, right? The big one is this. This launching, dude, her damage is a lot lower now. Even on like her BMBs, things like that. She still does fine damage, but like, ooh, and I was like, especially, this is not really, you know, the thing, but like when we were looking at characters' optimals and who like who could TOD Gran and stuff like that, her damage, she used to have one. She used to have an easy one. She's not even that close anymore, right? She goes down a lot. Her like higher damage combos, her cash outs are significantly worse with this. She used to have like double fireball combos with clock and shit like that. So her damage goes down quite a bit through this. And I mean, unironically, by the way, this might just be a nerf if you're fighting people who are bad, but like, it's the same nerf Sieg got a while back, right? Yes, but Sieg also got made significantly better for pressure, right? You might remember in the same patch where they killed this fireball in terms of a neutral pool, they also made it like 14 frames more plus on block or something. So this, unironically, is probably only, like, it's only a nerf against, like, dumbasses like me. But, like, dude, I've seen this happen even in, like, tournament sets, right? Where people, like, are blocking riding free and they accidentally stand up midway through and then they die, right? This, like, it's not, I'm not gonna, like, stand on business, say, like, this is a gigantic nerf. But, like, unironically, this just, like, it takes a little bit of bullshit factor. A little bit of bullshit factor away from the character that didn't happen, right? Beatrix deserved every nerf she got, and she still deserves more. Listen, Vera, I'm not, yeah, I still think she's very good, but I do think we can at least acknowledge that she did, like, genuinely get nerfed, right? She's not, she's the only, because, I mean, we'll talk about Versuja in a second, of the characters they, like, targeted nerfed, she's the only one who I think actually feels it significantly, right? The riding free mid thing literally does not matter 99% of the time. No, I agree. But I'm saying, like, this is, I want to start with this to say, like, maybe it's just because I'm fucking stupid, but I've seen good players fuck this up too. This matters a little bit. It's just, it's a little bit of bullshit away from the character. It's a little bit of, like, a little bit of frustration away from the character. But yes, this is big. This is big, by the way, especially into motherfuckers like this, right? Into these characters too. This guy as well, I believe. Characters without a 6-frame close M, right? Characters who used to get far L on Beatrix now get straight up auto combo on her ass. This makes it significantly higher risk. A character like Gran, you know, like he goes from close M to close H. That's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. A lot of the cast who only got far L on Beatrix, proximity range is bigger on mediums and heavies than it is on lights. So a lot of the cast used to only get far L into U skill or far L into sometimes nothing, far L into like 1 EX special into, you know, go home when they blocked H riding free. Now the entire cast, basically, no matter who you are, gets a full-ass auto combo on Beatrix when they block riding free, which, like, triples the damage that some characters are going to do to this, right? So this, in general, makes this a significantly higher risk move, right? So H riding free, one of the best things about her, getting worse. Now, they did buff her command grab, right? They did buff her command grab. She gets better Oki afterwards. So she did get a compensation buff, which is kind of funny, considering how good she is. But, like, I still think that overall, this fireball change, really big. This riding free change, really big. And a lot of the other stuff, you know, Thunderbird, they buffed, I think, L and... No, they nerfed L, they buffed M, right? So it's also, L riding free no longer gets you combos on counter hits, but M gets you, like, way better ones. So that's also, I would overall call this a bit of a nerf, too. Riding free overall gets a little worse. She can get, like, light DP after U riding free, or something like that, right? Yeah, the L riding free counter hit thing, yeah, I just mentioned that as well. So, like, Beatrix, she's worse, man. Now, still good, right? Still good, and even with the 5U buff, like, still good. But I do think of the two top tiers that they tried to hit, Beatrix is the only one that actually got hit, I think. She's the only one that is, like, noticeably worse than she was last patch. Still good. Not like a... I mean, Beatrix is like a top 3, top 5 contender last patch. I'm not so sure that I think so anymore. Speaking of the devil, Versuja is the top tier they tried to nerf, who they didn't, basically. Versuja is technically a little weaker, I will say, right? Versuja is weaker. Versuja, I think, is a little weaker. But, like, it's... I mean, honestly, like, we can just say escape nerfs, right? We can just... And I guess I'm gonna do that. I should do this too. Fine. Yeah. I'll be consistent. If I'm gonna do that, I should do this too. Because Versuja got a little weaker. I think Grimnir got a little bit more nerfed than Versuja, honestly, though. No, I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think they genuinely, even though they both are still amazing, I think Grimnir genuinely feels this patch more than Versuja does. For real, right? So what changed with Versuja? A lot of things, actually. There's buffs and nerfs and side grades and things like that. So her dash block, a lot worse. This is way more committal than it used to be. She has to wait 26 frames after hitting the dash button to dash block, right? It took Grimm's fuzzy. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need it as much, but it's true. It does matter. It does matter, right? I would not say the Grimnir escaped nerfs. I'd say he's a little worse than he is and still very good, right? So yeah, like, this is not nothing, right? In and of itself. This is a big nerf that they gave her, right? This is big. This is big, right? This is like, maybe, is this the biggest nerf that she got? Something like that. Maybe that or the 5U. But this being a light clash level, finally, right? This being light clash level and also having its hitbox shortened, big deal, right? Big deal. This actually is a slight buff to her 2M, but not that meaningful, right? Her instant 6XL, I think, got better. Yeah, instant 6XL got better, which is actually another small buff to her. Reduced from frame 24 onwards, doesn't matter as much, right? Her instant 6XL being a little better is actually very good, because this was one of basically the only weaknesses that Versuja had, even before the patch, right? And then also her other dash normals, they slide now. She has roller skates. I can show you, but it looks very funny when she does this, right? She, like, her 6XH, that shit is actually fucking, this isn't that meaningful, I don't think, because, like, these aren't her best, like, these aren't great dash moves. But, like, if you do it right away, right, she kind of, like, goes like that. But if you wait a little bit, you see how that she has, like, that huge forward momentum? Like, she actually fucking, yeah, she, like, roller skates all the way to the end of the screen. It's, like, funny. I don't think it matters that much. These are technically buffs, but, like, yeah, right? JM gives her some new combo routes, which is a big deal because some of her old ones are not really there anymore. So, like, this is more so a compensation buff in exchange of a nerf, right? I believe similar thing for this as well, right? So 5U launches, right? Versuja's corner carry actually is the same, if not better, in this patch. But what this does, this is also another big nerf to Versuja, right? What this does is that her damage, when she's gonna take you corner to corner, her damage is, like, at best 2k lower. Sometimes in some situations, like 3k lower, 3.5k lower, right? Like, if she's just doing fucking, what's it? Like, if she's just doing something I've seen a lot these days, if I remember how to do it, is like, I don't know, like this into, I believe, is it this? Do you not do the, oh no. What am I thinking of where it's oh no, I think it's like this, right? Into the H, the H lariat, I think. You do, like, bonk, into JM, into H lariat, is that correct? Like that? Maybe I'm not delaying properly or something, but yeah, like that, right? It's like, that's like completely resourceless like that. That's even better corner carry than she had, like, last patch, right? She basically could not do this as easily, at least, without some meter, I think, last patch. But we're also talking 4,000 damage, right? This is, like, genuinely 2,500 less damage than some of her other corner-to-corner carry combos last game, right? Now, usually they cost more resource, but again, she doesn't really have access to that incredibly high damage while also full-screen carrying you anymore, right? So overall, I would still consider this a pretty big nerf. I mean, this is obviously just a huge nerf as well. It's like almost, it's one of those things that felt so wrong that almost you just kind of forget that it even got nerfed, that it wasn't always like this. This thing used to be +4 on block. For some reason, I don't know why, but it did. This used to be +4. Like, this is one of the nerfs that I think people just forget about, because, like, the idea that this was ever plus on block just feels wrong, right? This is a big deal. Like, Versuja just had, like, if she had stock, if she got in with stock, her pressure just went for so long, because having this as a, like, you know, a way to extend her pressure, let her cycle cooldowns and things like this, and she has a lot of interesting things she can do if she's got those cooldowns, both in combos and in pressure. So, like, this is also a very big deal, right? This is a very, very big deal for this being minus on block now, right? Now, this is the weird thing, right? M pillar got buffed, H pillar got nerfed, right? H pillar doesn't go full screen anymore. It goes about that far, like a little bit more than like a backdash away from round start, I think. Yeah, like it's not tracking anymore, but M pillar goes full screen now, right? So here's the thing. I've heard some people calling this a buff to Versuja. I disagree. I think it is a buff against zoners. I think against characters like Matera, characters like Fairy, stuff like that, I think it is genuinely better for her to have this now because it's not a cooldown. She's going to spam this over and over because H-Pillar used to be her full screen one. M-Pillar wouldn't track it that well and it was really slow, right? They made M-Pillar 25 frames instead of 29 and it goes full screen now. It tracks full screen, right? So, this is certainly nice. They buffed M-Pillar a lot. However, they did take H-Pillar away, which was maybe, like, I mean, at least out at this range, this is her best move last patch, right? It was 18 frames, it was unreactable, it was a gun to the head of everyone who was trying to play any sort of mid-range with, or even, like, zoning with Versuja, right? But, once she spent it, it was on cooldown, and then, like, there was a big difference of a Versuja that has the cooldown and a Versuja that does not, okay? Overall, in this patch, I think that in zoning matchups, she's buffed. In every other matchup, this is a nerf, right? In every other matchup, besides like Matera or Fairy or like someone who's trying to zone her, you know, maybe like Uno might do that or something like that, she's buffed. And those are meta-relevant characters, certainly. But this is not, I've seen people using this and the combination of Emanitia as well. Emanitia actually is a full screen projectile now, right? So I've seen people saying that like this and this is like a competent zoning tool, like toolkit for Versuja in this patch. It just isn't, right? This is 25 frames and there's no mental stack from out here. People are reacting to this, people are spot dodging this, people are rolling this, and you can't even catch roll with this fucking thing from the ranges where M-Pillar matters, aka like here to here, right? Because once you're closer than here, it's H-Pillar again. H-Pillar is just better, right? But like from the ranges where M-Pillar matters, this is not catching people's rolls, right? You have to, like, the timing you have to do it at means that if they pillar and they roll the, you do this, they roll it, and then you pillar them, it doesn't catch the roll, right? So, like, this is not... She's not a zoner, suddenly, right? Like, this is not a thing. This is only good if you're going to catch people who are committing to long recovery moves at full screen. Vasaraga, actually. This could be a nice way for her to check Vasaraga's Soulforge, right? But like, in general, you're talking about people like Matera, people like Fairy, stuff like this, right? Galleon, this is good against Galleon as well, right? But against the vast majority of the roster, she would rather have H-Pillar. M-Pillar does not stand where H-Pillar stood, and this is overall a nerf. Not that big, though. This is a really big compensation buff, right? Samsara got buffed to give her new combo routes out of her 5U. Again, think of all of this stuff as sort of like compensation buffs for this, right? And then Emanitia is better. It was worthless before. It is now like a bad fireball, basically, so I'll take it. H-Anitia got nerfed, which is also, I think, a big deal, right? H-Anitia, similarly, this thing stayed on screen for a whole second, right? This was like a really good way for her to just like hold space and just 5U behind it, right? Because you might notice this is 5U is 41 frames, the animation to get it. So if that thing is staying on screen for basically 40 frames after you launch it, then like if Zudis gets to do this, stand behind it in 5U. Not the case anymore, right? She has to spend U now if she wants to do that, because this one still stays on screen for an ungodly amount of time. Okay, no. The more I read these, I do forget about a lot of the changes that got done to Versuja. She had the best projectile invuln SBA in the entire game too, in Yomotsu there, right? Like this fucking thing. This is the best projectile invuln super in the entire game, full cinematic from anywhere, tons of projectile invuln. If you like dared to do anything against Versuja from full screen that was a fireball or even adjacent or looked like a fireball or smelled like a fireball, you were taking 4K and losing it, right? So like, honestly, I convinced myself a little bit. Now, Versuja is still very, very good, very, very good, right? But I convinced myself a little bit. While like she did get a bunch of compensation buffs, I think overall this is basically a nerf with no real compensation buff. This is a nerf with no real compensation buff, right? This is still a nerf that got some compensation buffs. This is a nerf that got some compensation buffs. So like giving a character this strong compensation buffs at all is a little funny. And this is this is a nerf with no compensation buff. This is a nerf. That's the compensation buff for it, right? So like, she's a little weaker. She's a little weaker actually. She is slightly worse. Still, she maybe got nerfed from top 2 to top 3 or something like that. But she is slightly worse, right? Versuja got nerfed very, 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 not all those varies. She is worse, right? She's just very good still. And she definitely did not get hit as hard as Beatrix, I would say. I feel like the goal of Versuja was to rework her rather than straight up nerfs. Doesn't feel like right to say she escaped anything. I mean, you probably could argue that both of them should have gotten nerfed a little harder, right? But yeah, Versuja is worse now, certainly, right? I kind of forgot. There are so many like things like that Celestial Dominion nerf, things like the super nerf. They're just like it was so wrong that they ever existed that like you forget that they didn't used to always be like this, right? the more I read through it, she is certainly a little bit worse, but she's still very good, right? Sandalphon is the same. He got some quality of life buffs, right? He's basically exactly the same as it stands. Sandy didn't move. Yeah, if you're not sure what they did to Sandy, this is a bug. Like they call it a bug fix, but like this is basically it's a little bit easier to pick the element that you want to go into after you do Zohar Strike or on 5U, right? So it's quality of life, but he didn't get better or worse or anything like that, right? GBX, by the way, thank you very much for the raid. Hello. You guys just caught us at the tail end here of talking about the patch and how it might have affected some characters. Now, of course, again, most characters are not named in this patch directly, right? But it is still the case that the characters that did change are very important. Like they shift the meta quite a bit, and there were also characters that have very polarizing matchups. So if you did better against them, then you're happy. If you did worse against them, then you're very sad, right? Hello, Milanisa. Hello. But yeah, so that I think this look about right now. Looking at it again, honestly, Matera and substantial buffs might be a little bit too much. She might just be like minor. It's like it's basically the same thing as Fairy. When I look at this now, like why I understand. You could argue that also you Butterfly should have gotten nerfs, but yeah, I think that's like putting her next to Vayne seems wrong, right? Because I think Vayne jumped up like a tier and a half. I don't think Matera quite did that, right? She doesn't even really have that kind of room to grow, I don't think. So yeah, I'll put her in minor buffs. So you could also put her here if you think it's more important that you Butterfly didn't change, right? If you think that's more important than like some of her better matchups becoming more meta relevant, then fair enough. But yeah, I think I'll put her here for now. Otherwise, I think this looks good. Galleon obviously is this Galleon. Zeta, it's very funny to me, but I think even Beatrix is the second biggest for sure. But like Zeta is just like unequivocally the biggest loser of this patch, right? Like I don't even really see the 214H nerf is larger than all of her buffs were. I don't know. I still think she got slightly better, Hakurai. It's a very valid take though, right? Like certainly the 214H nerf is gigantic, right? But like maybe I see like things that make her spend less time in Deathless Nier, and I just start. It's all over the screen, You Butterfly needs to get God, but I agree with minor buff. Yeah. She can't play neutral anymore. Okay, you know that's not true, right? Like you understand that you're exaggerating there, right? It's a big hit to her neutral, certain, but like that you understand that what you're saying there is incorrect, right? I don't think I have to. You're a smart guy. But it is a huge compensation nerf, which is why, I mean, the thing is the buffs are gigantic, right? So for it to be minor buffs, like that, it is a really, really huge compensation nerf. I do think Nier is slightly better overall, but like emphasis on slightly. I thought Nier was bottom 1 last patch. I think she still has a very solid argument to be bottom 1 this patch. She's not forgotten, certainly. They did touch her, but I don't really know what they did or what they thought they were doing. I've played multiple Niers this patch, and the character feels so bad. She was bottom 1 last patch, Hakurai, right? I played multiple Niers last patch, and she was awful there too, right? Like, she was awful last patch too, man. Do you forget that Nier couldn't fucking throw you last patch? If Nier threw you last patch, the only thing she was throwing was the fucking round. Like, do you not like if Nier threw you and you teched it, which you're going to do 90% of the time because it's Granblue. She lost, right? Like, if Nier tried to throw someone last patch, it sometimes made her just lose the round straight up. Right? Like, we're aware of this? At least last patch I had to care about my spacing against 214H. At least last patch, at least you didn't have to worry about her fucking throwing you. She did not have strike. You could look at this and say, this patch, like, this line of the, here could say, Nier now has strike throw. Nier has been given strike throw, right? I agree, Ominous Turn is a huge nerf. You're not gonna see me, like, at all. I was talking for, like, 3 minutes about how bad this is for her, right? But, like, this alone, right? She Frank still uses if you block her, but yeah, grabbing matters so much. I mean, he's a character with no mix who couldn't throw you before. He's a character with no mix, with no Raging Strike to even reaction check you to open her up, right? No mix, no Raging Strike, who couldn't throw you. She had nothing. Now, she could kind of do the thing where she stood out in the Granblue zone and swung at you, right? She has good buttons, but like, even then, God forbid you ever fucking Brave counter hit, she lost, right? So, I think this is a huge nerf. I agree, Hakurai. I agree 100%. It's a huge nerf. And I think that me putting her here is me agreeing it's a huge nerf. Because she got like 5 gigantic buffs. But Ominous Turn is so bad that she's basically the same. Slightly better. Slightly teeny tiny better. Which is insane considering how big of a nerf, or how big of a buff this is. How big of a buff this is, right? This used to give you nothing on block at all. And now it gives you, like, more than on hits used to give you, right? But yeah, so I think this looks about right to me. I think this looks about right. Nier feels easier to play for people who are learning her and is generally better, but some of her strengths got nerfed, so I'm not sure if they should have gotten nerfs. I don't think we needed to nerf Ominous Turn, right? I don't think if you don't nerf Ominous Turn, I don't think Nier, like... I don't think Nier is, like, running the game again. But it's very clear that, like, they're still, even a year on from the Versuja patch, right? The Versuja patch at this point, it was mid-August, fellas, or late August, right? So even 11 months on from the Versuja patch, they are still being very, very, very careful with Nier. I don't know if we're ever... I don't know how much more dev support this game has in it, man. Like, by the end of next year, are they going to feel comfortable making Nier a mid-tier again? I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand why they're being so careful with Nier. Because she is the biggest balance fumble I've ever seen in, like, I don't know, like the past fucking 10 years of fighting games, something like that. So, like, I get it. I really do get it. But, like, it's clear that they are still being incredibly, incredibly cautious with her, right? But yeah, see, this is... Overall, I would say that... Clearly, like, obviously the people most affected by this patch are the ones who are literally named, right? But again, I do think that one of the reasons that I wanted to make this is I think this patch affects your character, even if you don't play Ladiva or Voss or Bubs or Nier or Vayne or Beatrix or Versuja, or Zeta, I guess. I do think this character does, like, or sorry, this patch does affect your character more than you probably think it does. Because these three in particular, this guy too, are very polarizing characters, right? There's a good chance that you either really love the fact that they're more common in the meta right now, or you really, really, really hate the fact that they're more common in the meta right now. Right? So a lot of characters are like basically affected by their matchup charts getting slightly better or worse, and you can notice a tilt here for sure, right? Like zoner type characters, defensive type mid-range characters, right? And then a lot of your rushdown characters probably don't like this patch as much. Right? Interesting stuff. But yeah, let's talk about ranked, because I want to talk about this little visual, this graphic that Avaris put up for us. People drop the game because of her, gotta keep her bottom tier to avoid tournament showings. I really don't like this mindset I see people say. I don't think it's more so that people were dropping the game. I think it's just more so that, like, they might just, like, not trust themselves to make a balanced Nier, right? I mean, they fucked her up so much. Like, it is really... campfire stories, I know. But it is really insane to think about the fact that the Nier where there were 4 CEOs, or 4 Niers in top 8 of CEO, the Nier where everyone undisputedly agreed she was top 1, the Nier that people thought was in her own tier in a game with pre-patch Siegfried and Seox and Belial, right? We're talking, like, unblockable loops, we're talking the best fireball in the game's history, we're talking 16,000 health on Seox with a better throw bait, a throw bait that was plus on whiff, and even with that, even in a game with fucking Release Beatrix, right? People thought Nier was top 1 in her own tier. That Nier was incredibly heavily nerfed from release, right? That Nier was, like, half as good as release Nier. So, like, I think they just don't trust themselves to balance her. Which, I mean, I kind of don't trust them to balance her either, right? I don't trust her to balance her. I don't trust them to balance her either, because it's like, low-key Seox was better? Hold on. What? What? Did you just say to me, Hawker? What? My bad. I was wondering if I can catch anyone. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Oh. How much? Can't believe how easy they made ranked. Have you gotten? A good amount. Okay. All right. Listen, I don't know if you're backpedaling or if you're just, or if it was actually bait, but okay. I played against so much release Nier by the end I didn't mind. Okay. All right. Crisis averted. Oh my. Okay, all right, man. It's fine, actually. It's fine, as it turns out. What's up, y'all? Oh, copy. right, so let's get some Vikala theme in here. No, let's get Sandalphon. I like Sandalphon's theme actually. Let's get Sandalphon for the backing here. Is this a prank, bro? Just a prank. Is this a prank? Is this a prank? Don't worry about it. Let me download this in case I need it later. Create an account. Kill yourself. In Minecraft, of course. They know that people say that now, right? We have to say, like, in Roblox or something. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this, because this is, I mean, I know we talked about the rank system a lot recently, right? And I know we talked about the rank system a lot recently, but this is a very interesting, like, you know, data-driven evaluations are always fun to do, right? It's something that we didn't really have before, right? So, I mean, real quick before we get started, shout outs to Avaris A right here who put this together. I think a very, very nice visualization of a bunch of different little bits of data about the rank system, the distribution in particular, but, you know, some other more interesting tidbits as well, right? So, I kind of wanted to just go through this. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this. Maybe I'll rant for 50 minutes. Maybe we'll go through it in 15. I don't know. Knowing me, the former is probably more likely, but let's see. Yeah, Varus in the chat right there. Hello, hello. Congratulations on being a god. But yeah, so graphs, right? So, Granblue rank distribution for July 1st, aka fucking yesterday, right? So, let's talk about this, right? Obviously, the big backdrop here is people in general. A lot of the negative feedback around the new rank system is that, you know, Master is too easy, right? Getting Master, they made it like a joke, right? You can climb with like a 10% win rate. What did they do? It doesn't mean anything to get Master anymore. You know, I don't feel like I earned my accomplishments, right? And I mean, I've been on record multiple times as like pushing back on this, right? I think. Dude, I made it from S+ to Master in under an hour. On what number Master character was this for you, Hawkeye? Right? I've been on record, yes, multiple times. I have 3 different videos talking about it on this Galleon Day 1. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really, again, you know what, Hawkeye, you're a great example of this. I've been on record multiple times saying the goal of this patch is that if you are a Smurf in S++, which, by the way, if you had played a lot of S++ before this, you would know that was the fucking majority of people in S++. Like 50% of players, it felt like, were like all getting their 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th character to Master, right? If you were a Smurf in S++, this patch is designed to kick you the fuck out of there as soon as possible, right? So, if this is like your 13th character in Master, you're gonna get there in an hour. That's correct. You know, it's gonna be real easy, because things like benefits for perfecting people, things like benefits for a 5 or 6+ win streak in S++ is when the win streak caps out, right? Compared to a 2 win streak in S+, it caps immediately at double the number, right? Then you are going to climb incredibly fast. Do you know who is consistently perfecting their opponents? Do you know who's consistently getting 5-6 game win streaks? It's fucking Master Rank players. It's Master Rank players in S++, right? People in S++ are not really win streaking or perfecting their opponents that much. Now, did it get easier even if you are an honest to God S++? Yes, absolutely. Now, I do think it's for 2 major reasons that are side effects or direct changes to the rank system. 1, promos are gone, right? Promos are gone. Promos were the hardest part about getting from S++ to Master, damn near. But I would argue, if you've heard all this before, I'm sorry, I'm rehashing things a little bit before we get into this, right? Before we talk about this data, right? I would argue that promotions were not an actual test of skill of whether or not you deserve to be a Master Rank. I think promotions, and if you've played enough promotions, you can, you know, be honest with yourself. I think promos were very much a luck of the draw. Did I happen? Because an 80% win rate is tough, even if you're a Smurf. Even for a small amount of time, to maintain an 80% win rate is kind of hard. So, like, what it was basically was, did you happen to get matched up into a guy that you could just beat twice in a row consistently? You know what I mean? You just happened to get matched up into like an S++ 5 who wasn't a Smurf, and you beat his ass, and you got matched up into him again, or you got matched up into a different S++ 5 or something like that. Congratulations, you did it, right? It was not like needing to get an 80% win rate to get into Master. It was silly, right? It was luck of the draw. So I don't think promotions, while they were fun for me, I liked them. They were good content. I don't think they were necessarily like the true test of are you ready to get to Master. I think the test of are you ready to get to Master was, can you climb from S++ 5 to S++ 1, right? Promo was just kind of like an arbitrary thing at the end there. I didn't hate them, but with them being gone, I think that's probably overall a better thing for the rank system. The other thing that makes S++ significantly easier now is that I know this, right? Very few people, I think, have... they should let you derank from Master. That's a horrible idea, I think, Hakurai, but that's fine. Very few people have played as much in S++ as I have, okay? Like, 1%, less than 1% of the Grand Blue player base has played as much in S++ before and after this patch as I have, okay? So I can tell you for a fact, one of the reasons that the biggest reason probably, besides promos being gone, that S++ is easier now, is that there aren't any fucking Smurfs. They're not there anymore. They all got to Master, right? They all got they only stay in the queue for like an hour and then they're gone. Right? They don't exist. The only times usually that I fight a Smurf of sorts is when people are sniping me. Like, I know them. They'll be like I'll find like Heko in the queue, or I'll find like, fucking Suki in the queue or something like that, right? Or like Dust or something. Like, they got on the queue to snipe me. They kept a character in S++ exclusively to snipe me when I got there, right? That's not the average player experience. Smurfs are gone in S++, basically. They are essentially not there anymore. Which, does that make S++ significantly easier? Yes. Is it easier in a bad way then? To be master rank, do you have to be good enough to beat master level players? I don't think so, right? I don't think you need to be good enough to beat Smurfs 51% of the time to get to master. So, that's another, it's a decrease in difficulty in S++, right? But it is another very correct and valid and necessary decrease in difficulty, I think. Sniping is lame. I'm looking at you. It's a very necessary decrease in difficulty, right? But what this happens now? People have now, when we get into the graph, shout out to Avaris once again. People go like, okay, but yeah, like that plus no promos plus the win streak bonus is giving you a little bit of a cushion. You can, if you get lucky, you can like maintain like a 45% win rate and still climb, depending on what that 45% win rate looked like. Because you still in S++, you get 100 when you win, you lose 100 when you lose. It's still zero sum, except if you won 2 rounds in a row, you get 107. If you perfected a guy, you get 115. If you're on a large win streak, that's when you can start getting, if you're on a 6 win streak and you perfect a guy and you win 2 straight rounds, it all multiplies into each other. So like then you can start getting like 300 points per win, right? I also think it should be really hard to hit the final rank. That's kind of the issue with making it easier to hit Master. 2 things, Hakurai. That's why I love this graph. 1, Master is not really the final rank anymore. Technically, it's GM. 2, you segue perfectly. I love having someone who just like says all of the points that I want to counterpoints, so people can know that I'm not fighting ghosts, right? And Hakurai almost feels like he's a paid actor here, right? So yes, it can give you a little bit of a cushion and things like that, but it's still genuinely quite difficult to get out of S++. And people will say like, oh, like, it's so easy to get to Master, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I think that exact line that Hakurai said is in the video that came out at 4 p.m. today, right? It's where someone different was saying, I think Master should have more prestige, right? Well, I have news for you. 1 out of 10 people, now you might be like, that's too much, right? Sure. 1 out of, like 90% of the population is not in Master, right? Over half the population isn't even in fucking S rank. Now, mind you, D and C in particular are overinflated with like, the game automatically places you there when you start, right? It places you when you start, and some people will never play ranked. But I think they still count. I mean, those people are playing casually. They are not good enough to climb to S. Most of them, unless it's like a junior jam situation. That's like a 1 in 1,000, right? I'm also content brain. This is so easy to feed. Thank you, Hakurai. Yeah. Fellow content creator. Someone was asking about a Grand Guide, by the way. Someone in my comments like, have you made a Grand Guide? I'm like, my dumbass is not, but Hakurai's made a good one, I think. But yeah, so those people still count. Those people are not good enough to get to S if they played ranked, right? How many junior jams you have? Or is this a guy who like doesn't play ranked, but he's like a top, 0.1% player? That is not common. So over half the population isn't even in fucking A rank. Only 15% of players are in S++ or Master, right? So again, this idea that this is, by the way, this is post changes, right? This is what it looked like. There was the before and afters that he posted here too, right? So like this is what it looked like before, right? So yes, are there more people in Master now? Yes. Now keep in mind, this percentage has been creeping up the entire game's lifespan, right? Like even before any rank system changes, things like this, over time, more people, a larger percentage of the player base has been hitting Master as like the ones who were intermediates get better and like fewer newcomers come in, right? So like in general, more people are hitting Master, sure, and yes, that is a 3% jump. A big part of that is because of promos are gone, there's not as many Smurfs, and the win streak bonuses, things like that, sure. But like, 8% to 11% over 2 months. Probably like 2% of that is to do with the rank system change. The idea that suddenly now Master is just this meaningless thing that anyone can get if they just like stick their controller up their ass and fart into it is an insane take, right? 90% of the player base isn't there. 85 isn't even an S++. By the way, S+, you can climb out of S+. This is one of the things that I really hate about the win rate argument, right? You can climb out of S+ with a like 20% win rate because you lose half as much as you gain, right? You lose half as much as you gain, and the win streak bonuses are stronger, and you get more. There's like more people above you can get matched into and get more bonus points, right? So like you can climb out of S+ with like a 25% win rate, and yet only 6% of players are in S++ and 11% in Master. Do you know why? I think most people would agree a 25% win rate is like pretty low. That should be pretty easy, right? As it turns out, while that is very low, you still have to be able to beat an S+ level player 1/4 of the time. I think people lose, like, I'm not saying that's like that insanely hard to do, but if you are not an S+ level player, you can't fucking do that. Right? And if you're an S++ 5 level player, you can't do that either. You can't beat an S+1 1/4 of the time is kind of hard to do, right? A good 80% of the player base can't do that, right? 85% of the player base cannot maintain a 25% win rate against S+ and above level players. So that's a much more egregious thing than like, you know, the 45% win rate you can climb out of S++ with, right? Even that, most of the population can't even do that because you still have to get good enough to beat these players, right? Fighting game power levels, as it were, are very cliffy, right? Before you learn certain things, before you have knowledge of certain fundamentals, before you practice certain things, there are people you just can't beat at all, right? It's not a coin flip, right? It's not a coin flip. There's like many, for, you know, if you are like a beginner in D rank, you have a 0% chance of beating an A rank, most likely. Like you can't do it. If you are truly a D rank, you're not like someone who just started and you're gonna climb up real fast, right? If you're truly a D rank, you have a 0% chance to beat an A rank, right? Not 1, not 2, not 15, 0. Right? So there are still these giant plateaus you have to climb to even be able to maintain fucking single-digit win rates against people better than you, right? There are, I mean, I'll give you an example. It's actually really nice. One of the things I really like about this is we can look at this right here, right? Here's Master. One thing I really don't like about Master and the argument of like, well, Master is the final frontier, it should be harder to get to. No, it fucking isn't, man. No, it fucking isn't. And I think if you say that, you just don't fully understand. If you truly believe that, you don't fully understand how Master Rank works, I think. There are divisions in Master Rank. There is a class system in Master Rank, and it is big. There's big skill gaps between people in Master Rank, right? You'll notice with this patch, this yellow here, I think Avaris might have fucked up the color coding, but like the black is the old, the yellow is the new, right? By and large, most, like the biggest influx of people in Master are people who are now stuck at 0 crystals, right? Way more Masters at 0 crystals than before. Way more Masters from 1 to 999 crystals before. And I'll tell you for a fact, 1 to 999, I bet you if Avaris broke this down from like 1 to like 200 and like 201 to 999, most of them will be in that 1 to 200 range still, right? They'll be like 12 crystals, things like that. So like, yes, there's a lot more people in that like lower range of Master. But even this, yes, Master is now the real game begins, right? I'm like an intermediate level, I'm like as far as Masters, right? I'm like an intermediate level Master, right? I'm not like an Arc World Tour level player at all. I'm not even the level below those guys or the level below those guys, right? I sit, you know, I sit pretty comfortably somewhere in like 2 to 3k gems, depending on how much ranked I'm playing, right? These like low crystal Masters, basically, like, if it's like a fresh Master, they like can't really beat me at all, right? I can like fuck around and hit them, right? GM floor is the way I've taken a call on it. Yeah, like I get stuck in my GM floor. I have a very hard time consistently beating GMs to like climb to like 6th, 5th, 4th rank GM, but I can get to like 9th, 8th pretty consistently, right? So these like 0 crystal Masters basically can't beat me. I can just like, I could be fucking around, I could be like not using half my kit, I could be like hitting them with a 5U for fun, and I just beat them easily. And that's not me saying like, look at how big my cock is. My point is, there's a gigantic skill gap there. There are people in Master who can do the same thing to me, right? They can do the exact same thing to me. They can beat me while they're fucking on the phone with their mom, right? There's like a 0% chance, damn near, that I beat them if they're trying at all, right? There are only 2 quote divisions though of under 500 and over 500. True, yes, but that's as far as the game system is concerned. But if you talk about the actual skill ranks within Master, right? So like there are people who do that to me, right? You're beating people yapping to Twitch chat? Sure, but yeah, there are people who are doing what I'm doing to those Zero Crystal Masters to me easily. There are people that I cannot beat at all. Like I have like a 5% win rate against some of these people. And then, if those same people, there are people that they basically can never beat. And we're talking like this like subdivision is within like multiple thousand crystal masters, right? Is what we're talking here, right? The people that I can basically never beat, there are people that they can never beat. And like somewhere above that, you actually get to like basically like your Arc World Tour level players, right? So like the idea, like the skill gap in Master, like if we talk about, you know, a D rank has like no shot at all of beating like a B rank, basically, right? A B rank could beat an A rank, something like this, right? A D rank has like no shot at all of beating a B rank. A B rank has basically 0% chance of beating an S rank, right? An S rank has basically no chance of beating an S++. That like, there is literally no chance of victory. There exist as many gaps within Master there as do in the entire rest of the rank system. And this is not a since they made Master easier. This has been the case since fucking 1.0 Grand Blue, right? So the idea that Master is like, oh, it's the end of the line, so it should be harder to get. No, it fucking isn't, man. No, it fucking isn't. If you get to Master, that's a huge accomplishment, and everyone who's like, you know, been working on getting there should be proud of themselves. But the idea that makes you like, this marks me as very good at the video game now, so it should be harder to get. No, it doesn't, man. You are fucking fodder to like actual good players, right? Because like you're fodder to me, and I'm like complete garbage to actual good players, right? And not even like the best, not like Tororo, right? Even like guys that could never beat Tororo will fucking bend me backwards and blow my back out, right? And you're fodder to me. Like there's a giant list of jumps there, right? So all of these ideas that we talked about already, I don't want to rehash too much, but like this data now, again, it supports this kind of like directly, right? This sort of, it's not the end of the line, but it's still a very big milestone to the point where you enter the real queues, which should be gatekept a little more than what it is now, LMAO. So this is where I get, what is a little more? 90 fucking % of the player base can't get there. So we're acknowledging that it's the starting point, right? It's like, all right, now the real game begins. Now you get sweaty. Top 10% is not gatekept enough for that, you know? Again, for like literally the end point, 10% will be a lot, sure. But for like, if we're talking, okay, now the game gets real, 10% isn't, right? For the second highest rank in the game? 10%, yeah, and also, yes, true. 500 Crystal Master is the real queue. That's correct. Yes, there is. If you don't know, there is literally. I believe this has been confirmed. I think, but like, I definitely noticed it. Once you get past 500 crystals of Master, you start matching up into the like. You don't really see the like 18,000 crystal GMs until you get past 500 plus, right? So even then, the game itself doesn't even consider Master the final frontier. You have to at least prove you can consistently, you know, hang with the 0 crystal masters, right? So once you start talking about that, right? Yes, if 500 crystal masters get matched up into like a GM or something, they're going to fucking die. But my point is, when we start considering that, even then it nosedives even further. It's like 8% and not 11%, right? And then even those people, that's not necessarily the highest rank either. That's GM. And GM is hard capped at 330 players or 350 players or something, right? So GM is hard capped at like, you know, less than 1% of the population, or whatever the fuck 350 is, right? So this idea that Master isn't gate kept hard enough, 10% for the starting line isn't hard enough, 8% for like the real, like the actual, like, okay, now we're gonna try and kill you starting line, that's not hard enough? That's very little, man. 92% of the player base isn't there, and it's not gate kept hard enough? And so again, I always say these things, but I love having Avaris' graph here, because I can point to it and go, motherfucker, 90% of the player base isn't a Master, like 93% of the player base isn't in like real Master. What are we talking about? Half of the player base isn't in A rank. I say these things when I stream, right? 12% of an entire game's population is actually insane. I think you need to compare that to every other fighting game. I mean, again, 12% for the second highest rank, that seems reasonable. Right? That seems fucking reasonable to me. 12% for the second highest rank in the game. That is not actually insane, right? Again, Master is the second highest rank in the video game, right? Like, I feel like people forget about, like, Grandmaster is the highest rank in the video game, right? 12% for the second highest rank in the video game? I don't know. I think more people are in Street Fighter 6 as Master rank. Way more. It's like fucking 17 or 18%, right? Even then, though, GM isn't a real rank. Yes, it fucking is. I mean, in terms of the fact that, again, this, like, that people who just got into Master are not getting to GM, Hakure, right? GM is a real rank. GM, like, the people who are even stuck in that GM floor are significantly better than the people who just got into Master, right? Since it's character dependent, even still, people who just got into Master are not getting to like 600. If you're what's the lowest GM threshold besides Lunalu, right? Even then, I think it's like 1,000 probably at this point. People who just got into Master are not getting to 1,000 gems. Again, and thank you, Avaris. Do you know how much of the Master rank system has 1,000 gems or more? That fucking much. This many is how many people have 1,000 gems or more, which is the lowest GM threshold probably. Like, you know, I think even like Nier is at like 1,800 now or something, right? This many, that many. This is like 2% of the video game or something, right? 2%? Something like that? So what are we talking about? Face blocking letter numbers? Oh, my bad. That's a good point. I'll disappear. Because yeah, we are at the very end here. Thank you for pointing that out. Look at that. Look at this. Look at my cursor now here. This many is how many have 1,000 gems or more. Right? This is of Master rank. There's 6,500 people here, and like 1,000 people total here, right? So like, this is 1/6 of Master rank is here. 1,000 or more, which is where like the minimum to be GM, right? After, if it's not like this the day the season starts. It's like this is like the minimum to be GM. The easiest GM character is 1,000 gems, right? That's 2% of the player base, right? 2%, right? 2% of the player base. That's not gatekept enough, right? At what point are we like, what are we fucking talking about here, right? Again, like, this is just me rehashing the same things I've always been saying, right? But like, I have data to back it up now. 2% of the fucking player base in Grandmaster, and that's generous. It's probably less than that, but like, the most generous 2% of the player base in Grandmaster. That's too much. 12% in the second highest rank in the game, right? SF6 is a very similar thing, right? SF6 has a shit ton of people in Master rank, right? 31% of the player base in SF6 is in Master rank. However, again, Master rank in SF6 is not Master rank, right? Like 1,200 MR, 1,300 MR, 1,400 MR, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700. These are division, like these are big. SF6 is a real elo system, right? A 1,200 MR Master is never, ever beating a 1,400 who's like trying at all, right? Like, it's real elo, right? So again, even though this is 31%, like the idea here is Master, just like an SF6, is the starting point of when the game gets sweaty, right? Even more definitively in SF6, because Master is when it gets to elo, which is a mean-ass system. That's zero sum, right? Like, SF6 is a very similar thing to Grand Blue, where like, you can climb with like a 40% win rate-ish in Diamond even, right? But like, once you get to Master, it's like, okay, it's zero sum now, right? So again, Master is very much considered in these modern fighting games to be, all right, this is where, if you want to be sweaty, the game begins. Very similarly, in Grand Blue, Master is where, if you want to be sweaty, the game begins here, right? The game begins there, if you want to be sweaty about it. This is your starting line. So 12% of people for that? Is that really that crazy? Only bad thing about Kat is she's boring. I think people think it needs a funny new title to be a new rank, but in reality, Masters becomes chess elo system. Yeah, like I will say, I would like personally, and I've said this before, that I want Street Fighter 6's elo system in Grand Blue's Master rank, only Master rank, right? I do want that, but as it stands, it currently just functions as a kind of fucked up version of that, right? It's not an accurate science, but like, you know, this like rough grouping here, I like what Avaris has here. This rough grouping, you can feel the difference here, right? You can feel the difference here, roughly, right? Except this is a little bit less accurate. What it really is, you know, Master, like 0 Crystal Master, low Crystal Master, mid-thousands GM floor Crystal Master, you know, and then people are like consistently beating lower GMs, right? So they get to like 5th, 6th rank of their GM, and then like the super GMs, right? There is genuine differences you can feel fighting those players. Right, so it functions as a kind of fucked up version of an elo system as it stands. Right, So Master Rank, even right now in Grand Blue, the idea that it's like the end of the line and therefore needs to be gatekept more heavily, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold up to basic scrutiny, and it doesn't hold up to data either, right? I'll work on a deeper stratification of Master just for you, Brick. I love you, Avaris. Yes, I mean, this is great already, right? Like, I love this so much. But yeah, like, again, so I feel so fucking, the reason, this video is just me doing one long victory lap, basically, of like, I've been saying this shit just on like instinct, because I'm actually like, I try to stay in touch with like what beginners intermediates feel, right? Like I check on like, you know, I check the subreddit. I see in Discord people are like working through like A rank and stuff like this. You know, I do coaching for like S pluses and S ranks and stuff like that. Like I try to stay in touch with what the game actually looks like instead of what me and my 3 like master rank buddies all think the game looks like, right? So like I feel like I had a relatively intuitive understanding. The data is gonna look like this, right? People seem to think that master is just brain dead easy and everyone gets there if they're jerking off on their other hand now. No, man. Half the fucking game isn't even an A rank. You know, 90% of the game is master, is S plus or below, right? So like, I just, please, it's not that bad. They didn't just make it brain dead easy to climb. I beg of you, like, look at the data, man. If in fact, master is really the only thing that was kind of majorly affected by this, right? Like, yeah, I mean, more people funneled into master for sure, but otherwise the rank system is exactly the same, which I guess the only things that got easier really were S, S plus, and S plus plus, right? These are the same. But like, guys, it's the fucking same. It's the fucking same. This, and again, I'll tell you, why are there more people in master, right? Why are there more people in master? Because S plus plus is significantly easier. We kind of go back to what I was saying earlier. Why is S plus plus significantly easier? It's because the rank system is fucking working. It's because S plus plus is not a Shark Tank of the same 20 Smurfs and you fighting each other over and over again now, right? That's it. Promos are gone, which is a good thing, and Smurfs are gone, which is a good thing. That does have the side effect of making S++ significantly easier, but it was hard in a bad way before. It was hard in a way that it shouldn't have been hard before. Just plain and simple, right? It shouldn't have been hard because there's Smurfs everywhere, or because promos are a fucking slot machine, right? So like, is S++ significantly easier? Yes. All in good ways. Like, stuff like the win streaks or the performance bonuses are mostly morale, man. If you're not smurfing, if you're not getting, like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 win streaks, you know? Like, I played Grand and I didn't lose a single game in S++, so I got, like, S++ in, like, I got from S++ to Master in like 25 minutes, right? If you're not win streaking, if you're not perfecting people, they're morale boosts, right? Things like winning 2 rounds in a row, so you get a little bit more points. Like you get a little lucky, you get like a 2 win streak, you get like 120 points instead of 100 points. Those are morale boosts. Those are not the reason that so many people from S++ made it to Master. The reason is S++ is S++ now. Before, S++ was the queue for board Master ranks. I lost 1 game in S+. I didn't lose a single game in S++. I lost 1 game in S+, in our first set as Grand. Right? S++ is not just Master rank queue, but the Masters are bored anymore. It's actual S++ queue. So guess what? If you were good enough to beat S++'s last patch, you didn't fucking rank up. Most of the time. Unless you got on queue in a good time. If you were good enough to consistently beat S++'s, you did not rank up. If you're consistently good enough to beat S++'s now, you do rank up. Turns out, there were a lot of people who probably should have been Master last patch, right? This is my big thing, right? People say, like, I was S++ before, and now I just got to, like, people were getting their first character to Master, right? They're not Smurfs. They're like, I was S++, like, stuck in S++ last patch, and the patch dropped, and I get to Master, and I feel like I didn't deserve it. I feel like this, you know, the patch dropped, and it made it easier, and that's why I got it, not me getting better. I understand where that sentiment comes from, but have you considered that the system was less accurate last patch? Right? The system was less accurate last patch. Last patch, to get out of S++, you had to be able to consistently beat Master rank players on their secondaries. That is not what that should mean. Because a Master rank on a secondary is still better than you on your primary, if you're an honest-to-God S++, right? That might be, I don't know if that's like an ego check for some people or something, right? But like a Master rank on their secondary, and God forbid it wasn't their secondary sometimes, a lot of the times it was like their 19th character to Master, so like they're just gonna smoke you, right? But like a Master rank on their secondary is better than you on your primary, right? And again, the kind of people who are going to be smurfing down there are not 0 crystal masters. Right? They're like the 1,000+ crystal masters are the ones who are like, I want to try another character. Usually, right? So like 1,000+ crystal master on their secondary is going to blow you the fuck out so much. right? So if you were stuck in S++ last patch, like S++ like 3 or 4 or something, and now you're a master, guess what? You deserved master last patch, but the system was worse. Right? The system was worse last patch. It was less accurate, and that's why you didn't get master rank. So this big influx of people into master, Jay, by the way, thank you very much for the follow. The system was less accurate last patch. The reason there's a sudden like big shit of people who were stuck in like S++ 3, 2, 1, 4, who just kind of all immediately got bumped to masters, is that they deserve to be in master last patch, and now they're finally fighting S++s. And it turns out when they fight other S++s, they're better than them. Because they were like, if you were climbing at all in S++ last patch, you were sometimes, maybe 35% of the time, maybe 40% of the time, you were sometimes beating masters on their secondaries. Do you know what that means? That means that you're better than the average S++, significantly, right? So you take those training weights off, suddenly you're not fighting masters on their secondaries or their tertiaries or their fucking octernararies. You're fighting an honest-to-God S++ like you. You kind of just beat their ass and rank up. Absolute cinema. The rank system works. Me, when the skill-based matchmaking actually matches me up with motherfuckers of my own skill. Whoa. Right? So, this, I call it a big influx of masters. And it is like, it's 3%. It's a big jump. But again, like, this is not because master is easy now. It's because people who deserve to be a master last patch are in master now. Again, if master was easy, half the fucking game wouldn't be below A rank. You know? Before, to climb out of S+, I felt like I had to play like an S++, play like a new master to climb out of S++ 5. Yeah, exactly, right? The changes overall are better now. I think a lot. I wanna look you directly in the eye. Because listen, Smurfs like me, they don't like the new master rank system. I'm sorry, I don't care about, or the new S++ system. I don't care about you, to be honest. Most of you are cool people. I know a lot of you, but like, if you are like, boo-hoo, my smurfing is so easy and lame now, I don't care about you, okay? But you, young S++ who just got master, who feels they don't deserve it because everyone keeps telling them the rank system was easier last patch, and you didn't earn it, whatever. I promise you, if you got master like very soon after the patch dropped, chance is you deserve to be there already, right? The system did not get less accurate from this patch from last patch to this patch. It got more accurate, and it placed you where you belonged. Do not let some dude with fucking 30, the whole cast in master, they exist, there's a lot of them, right? Don't let some guy with the whole cast in master tell you that master is brain dead easy now and you didn't earn it. They are just wrong. It's way easier for them because the new system was designed explicitly to kick motherfuckers like that exactly out of S++. You deserved it, you earned it, you got there, you should be proud of yourself, but don't forget, the road only just now started. If you want to get to master and call it, that's fine. But if you really want to get good, you have taken the first step on the journey to truly becoming a strong Grand Blue player, right? I just because it breaks my heart to see I know it's a meme, the congrats on master, but it was easier and it was harder before 2.1. Congrats on whatever, but it was harder before 2.1. I know you tried really hard, but it was harder before 2.1. I know it's a meme, that copy pasta, right? But I think people don't realize it genuinely demoralizes people a little bit, right? I always I don't want to kill people for making a joke, but if you are one of those Smurf type characters, something like that, please don't do that shit, right? If someone gets to master, say congratulations and move on, because it is hard. It's not hard for you anymore, but it shouldn't be. The fact that it was hard for some of you before means the rank system was broken, right? The idea that someone who's getting their fucking 7th character to master might struggle at all means the system doesn't function, right? If it's incredibly easy for you now on your 14th character to master, that means that it fucking works. It's got a kernel of true emotion to it. Yeah, it does feel a little bit like you are genuinely trying to gatekeep people. Master is hard. 90% of the game isn't there. Half the game isn't even sniffing there. If someone gets to master, unironically, that is a huge achievement still. Nothing about that has changed. Please, 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 if you don't take any other part of this video away from this, a lot of this is just me going, I'm right, ha ha ha, I'm right. I get that, I understand. A lot of this video is me being an asshole. But if there's one thing, I'm gonna put this at the start of the video probably. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from this, right? Again, if you are an honest to God S++ who was stuck in S++ and after the patch, after the rank system update, very soon after you got to Master. Be proud of yourself. You probably deserve Master last patch and are only now being placed in your accurate slots by the new rank system. It got more accurate because it's not just fighting Smurfs and shit. So be proud of yourself. And if you are a Smurf who has 95 characters in Master, please do not, like, try to gatekeep that person and, like, jokingly tell them that, like, it wasn't an accomplishment, right? It takes a lot of work. For some people, this is, like, 16 months of effort for some people, right? Damn near. So, like, just be a little bit more supportive to each other. And not because it's like, oh, okay, I guess just be nice and lie about it. No, because it still is a big accomplishment. Because still, fucking over 90% of the game can't fucking get there, right? So, yeah, just that, I guess. This is the thing that, like, bothers me the most about this. If it was just people complaining about, you know, if it was just, like, Smurfs being like, oh, I can't stream snipe as well because I rank up too fast, that's funny, right? But, like, the things that always get me and the things that get me on these, like, hour-long tirades of talking about the rank system, like I have started to do right now, is when I feel like an honest to God, like, someone who just, like, did this big accomplishment. It's a video game. I understand it's not that serious. But, like, you know, it's still, I think fighting games and video games, especially fighting games in a lot of ways, tend to be, for a lot of people, it's, like, one of the first times, like, a safe place to, like, improve at something and go through all the trials and tribulations associated with that, right? Getting better at a skill, whether it's fighting games or piano or volleyball or public speaking or anything, right? Talking to girls, right? Whatever it is, that is a difficult process. And it's a process that can have a lot of mental strain, right? So fighting games are it's a video game, so it's like a nice low stakes place for people to get better at, to learn how to improve. You might notice that people who are really good at one thing often learn faster when they do another thing, right? Like when you get someone like SK, right? SK is always a great example. I like to think about this. You know, a lot of you probably have watched the Sage Am Slams, right? SK is like a competitive Overwatch player, and she played Street Fighter for the first time, and she like gets really good really fast, right? Yes, obviously having a coach, having like a team, having motivation, having competition, a lot of these things help, but also, if you got really, really good at anything in your life before, you probably learned how to learn better than the average person. Whether it's Overwatch or fucking collegiate wrestling, right? Or playing guitar or whatever it is. Learning how to learn is a very important skill, right? Dada was hype as fuck in that slam. I do love me some Dada though, yeah, true. So like, fighting games are, while it is, yeah, it's just a game, bro, doesn't matter. It is still, a lot of people, for them, a lot of younger people, they're like learning how to learn for the first time, right? And there's a lot of like, there's plateaus you have to hit there. There's a lot of feelings of like, I tried so hard and I didn't succeed. Things that happen to everyone everywhere, right? Not just in fighting games, not just, you know, so like, maybe this is me getting way too, like, serious and deep about this, and, you know, we can go back to making dick jokes and saying everything's computer after, right? But for what little good that maybe you as, like, the expert here, you as the Smurf, you as whatever, for what little good it might do to have that person have a more healthy relationship with the idea of learning and growing and accomplishing things, and part of that is when you accomplish something, you have to reward yourself, you have to feel good about it, you don't, you know, diminish your achievements, you don't diminish your accomplishments, whether it's in fighting games or in life or in love or in anything, right? So for whatever little part that you as the expert here can have to, like, validate their accomplishment to make them feel good about themselves, because they deserve to feel good about themselves, because it is a lot of work to get to Master in this game, especially a lot of people are getting to Master now and not, like, you know, a few months after the game's release. This is a lot of people's first fighting game, right? It's a lot of people's first introduction to the genre. I mean, not everyone. It's a lot, also, again, it's a lot of young people who it's like their first time really trying to get good at something, right? Like really trying to get good at something. You can be like a positive influence on that journey and on that, you know, that whole thing of learning how to learn. And that might have like huge knock-on effects that you don't realize, right? And at the same time, if like the community makes them feel like shitty about themselves and like all the effort they put in was for nothing and that it's actually easy and they don't deserve it, it might have the exact opposite effect, right? It can make people, I'm not saying you're responsible for anyone's like self-confidence issues, but like why not? You're not lying to them, right? You're not lying to them. It is genuinely a difficult accomplishment. So when you congratulate them for it, just do it with like an earnest heart and don't say like, oh, good job, but also, by the way, it was easier last patch, right? People laugh that off, but like, in my experience, this is something else. No one has ever told a joke before, I don't think. There's never been someone who's said something that they didn't mean at least a little bit. That's, I think, a controversial take, but it's not just fighting games, it's everything, right? Like, I don't think anyone has ever said something they didn't mean at least a tiny bit, right? And I think all of humanity kind of knows this, but like the social contract says we can't be honest about that, right? So when you like jokingly tell someone that their accomplishment wasn't as meaningful, they'll be like, oh yeah, ha ha ha. But you know and they know that you kind of meant it, right? Even if it's a little bit, it can still have an impact. So, this is a long tangent. It's a long tangent, but like this is really the takeaway. The reason that I've spent now collectively something like fucking 2.5 hours talking about this rank system update is because I feel like it's been like a failure of the community to me personally. It's been like a failure of people to uplift people. And it has been an exercise primarily in gatekeeping. It has been an exercise in pulling the ladder up behind you. It's been an exercise in making yourself feel better about things at the expense of others. Not everyone, right? Not everyone. But like, it's been an exercise in humble bragging, right? It affects people. Yeah, I mean, So Optimal saying, I felt like I didn't deserve Master Rank when I got it, so I appreciate the tangent. I'm sure others do too. Yeah, like, like people believe you. The problem is, when you are an expert, right? When you are a relative expert, when you are, like, obviously very good at something or better than someone, when you say something to them, they're going to take you more seriously than you might have thought, right? Like, what might be light words to you might matter a lot to the person you're talking to when they feel like it's coming from someone who is, you know, in the place they want to be. Maybe they want to get better at a certain character, and you are, like, a person they look at for, like, tech or something like that. Like, maybe you're someone they look up to within the fighting game space, right? So when you tell them something, they're probably gonna fucking believe you. Or if you say something even offhand, if you say something like, man, getting to Master is just so... You're not even talking to them, you're talking about yourself. You're saying like, man, I want to be that guy, but like getting to Master is so easy now, and like I just don't have fun with the rank system anymore. Like I just made it so brain dead. Like I don't even have to do it. I just like hit buttons and get to Master. Even if you're just saying that about yourself, and it's like true to your own experience, whatever, but people are going to hear you say that and feel bad about it. Because they'll be like they know you're better than them, but also like that just makes them feel like, oh, well, I'm not even in Master yet, even post-rank system changes, or like, oh, I got to Master, but I guess they just made it, I thought I like worked really hard to get there, but I guess they just made it brain dead easy, and I was just hitting buttons on my controller, and I'm probably just really bad, actually I don't deserve it, right? Like, I don't think people realize, just like how I think for a lot of people, these fighting games are like their first attempt at really getting into something, and their first experience, like really, really getting good at a skill, right? And learning how to learn. I think for a lot of these people who are like experts, a lot of them are also like these really good fighting game players. They're also like, a lot of them are like in their early 20s, they're like late teens sometimes, right? I think a lot of you, this might be your first time being in a position of authority as well, right? Genuinely, like being like important members of the community, being like people look up to, right? Maybe you're like a younger brother or something, you know? So this might be the first time that you've had people who actually will like hear what you say and like take it like really, really seriously, right? So I think for a lot of these like Grandmaster level players who are like smurfing in S++ and stuff like that, for a lot of y'all, this might be the first time that you've been in like a relatively authoritative position within a community, and I understand that, but like I think a lot of you don't realize how seriously some of your words get taken, right? Like you have, to an extent, if you have any sort of mouthpiece, either by being like I mean, a streamer or a content creator, sure, like a lot of the good players do that, or even like, you know, if you are just like a well-respected individual in like a community, right, at like a local or at like an online or like in one of the Discord servers for the game or something like that, right? You can genuinely, like, your words hold some weight, man. So you have to realize that. I met a couple people that I've realized kind of idolize me. Yeah, I understand. For a lot of you that might be new, right? I get that, but like you have to, just like the children need to learn, and we need to help them learn and make sure that, you know, we help them along, that they don't, you know, hit the same snags that we do. We give them advice, we give them tech, we give them, you know, emotional support where they need it. You guys also, I think, need to realize that you're important, man. You're important. Like, Granblue's a small community, right? Granblue especially. This game is a small fighting game, right? People, if you're like a pretty good player of your character, unless they're like the most popular character in the game, you are probably one of the best players of your character that is in the world, right? This is not a very large fighting game community. If you're like, you know, the number 7 GM fucking Uno or something like that, you are probably unironically like one of the best Unos in the world, right? It's a small game. So you are like you guys need to realize how much of a platform you might have, and like, I mean, it got me tearing up saying I'm important. I'm not saying that necessarily to like glaze you. I'm saying that to realize you guys are kind of fucking the dog. You guys are being like, the reason I rant about ranked so much, like the underpinning, the thing that bothers me about it is that it does feel like a lot of these people who are in these like positions of relative authority by being as good as they are at their character are kind of like letting the community down a little bit, I think. There's a lot of gatekeeping that I'm seeing. There's a lot of like humble bragging that I'm seeing, right? There's a lot of punching down that I'm seeing. And that's what I don't like about this whole new... I'm sorry, what turn of phrase is that? Oh, you guys aren't Canadian. Yeah, fucking the dog. You guys don't... Wait. Is that a Canadian thing? Fucking the dog? Definitely, there's a lot of people I could say fucking the dog to, and they would completely understand me. Is that a... Fucking, like, you know, fucking the dog is like screwing the pooch. It's screwing the pooch. Right, it's screwing the pooch. That definitely alarmed me. Have you ever heard someone say they screwed the pooch on this one? That's a euphemism of that. Have you heard of... It's kind of boomer lingo, maybe. You've never heard someone say, oh, we really screwed the pooch? Come on. That one I hear? Yeah. That's a euphemism of fucking the dog. Never heard that one either? Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. So many of you motherfuckers are too young, man. I'm 26, man. I'm not old. But, like, again, a lot of you, I think, are, you know... some of you are like fucking 19 and you're like the 5th best like Uno in the world or something like that, right? And you're just kind of being, you know, I think you're using what little authority and position you have to just put people down, right? And I don't like that. So that's kind of the main point of why I am so passionate about this rank system discussion. I don't really care if Cygames made the rank system better or worse. I do genuinely think they do, right? Like, I'm not here to like, I hope that it doesn't come, I'm not here to dick ride Cygames and say they just did such a good, you know, they did such a good job with the update. Good job, Cygames, right? Like hyper pet the little guy. It's not my point. The reason that I push back so heavily on all of the negative feedback on the rank system update is because almost all of it feels like, comes from a point of either gatekeeping or making yourself feel better or making others feel worse, and I don't like that, right? I don't like that. So I every time I see it, I can't help but go into like a fucking 35, 40-minute tirade about how not only is it a wrong thing to do, you are actually genuinely wrong for saying that. And again, thank you so much to Avaris for giving me the fucking data to back it up, right? Everything you say to gatekeep or to make, or to humble brag or to pull the ladder behind you is like factually, statistically, by the numbers, incorrect, objectively wrong. And I have Avaris to thank for that, right? I have Avaris putting this together to thank for that, right? To show you that, please, if my like logical argument isn't gonna get to you, hopefully stone cold hard numbers. Maybe some of y'all are fucking neurodivergent. Like, I think I'm a little. I'm not sure. So it's like an undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure type thing. But like maybe some of y'all are a little bit neurodivergent like me. Maybe like numbers will help you. Maybe now you will be genuinely convinced that, like, guys, Master is still a big accomplishment. S++ is a big accomplishment. Motherfucker, getting to S rank is really hard. Getting to S rank, half the player base is not an S rank. Please, please, please open your eyes and extend some amount of courtesy, right? And again, for y'all who are actually getting to Master for the first time, you deserved it. Be proud of yourself. Do not let people who, I don't know why they're doing it, but do not let people put down your accomplishment. It is a big accomplishment, right? You deserved it. In fact, you probably deserved it last patch. You just didn't get it because the system was broken. Okay? There's a couple of interesting things that Avaris notes here as well. So I want to read these, see if there's anything to talk about before we sign off here, because I've ranted for long enough. But let's see. Yes, only this doesn't count Smurfs, right? So it's every player on their highest ranked character, so that's good. It's like accurate data. There are about 13,000 more players in the July 1st data compared to the May 26th. That's nice. It's a big increase for a month, right? That's I mean, that's Galleon and the sale and everything, right? So Galleon, I know a lot of people picked up the game for the first time with that big deluxe sale that happened with Galleon, right? So that's certainly nice. Master is almost doubled in size. That's a little bit of a generous. I will say it's a little bit of a that's a little editorializing right there. This is not even a 50% bump, right? Master has gotten 50% bigger, but sure. Master has almost doubled in size, but the overall distribution is mostly the same. Overall rank shifted upward. Yep. And again, that makes sense, right? Especially S++, actually, I think, is one of the ones where there's the biggest shift there, right? There's more people, so there's more B, C, and Ds. That's actually good. More beginners is always nice, right? Also, yeah, Brick, I'm diagnosed Asperger. Seeing the data just gave me proof of my experiences. I'm glad. I didn't say like maybe some of you are neurodivergent as like an insult. I would never do that. I think I'm a little. I'm not sure. I think I'm saying like literally like seeing data like actually helps, like for real, right? It's also game free to PS. Oh, it came free to PS Plus Extra. True. No, you cannot rank up to master with negative win rates. Interesting. 7.4 plus 4 equals 11.4. It has almost doubled. Listen, Amaris. Listen, I'm not. Listen. First off, it's 3.5. I'm gonna split hairs here. About like 3, almost doubled. I guess I see what you mean, but like, it's only halfway. Like, you need to add another, It's okay. You're goated, so I'll let you editorialize a little bit. I'll let you editorialize a little bit. I see what he means in that, yes, like your win rates can certainly, like, you can be low and then you win a bunch and then you suddenly climb. But I do think you can climb with a slightly negative win rate. I think it is definitely exaggerated by people. Like, it's not like a 30% win rate to climb from S++. But I think with how the win streaks and stuff work, like if you like win 2 games in a row and you lose 2 games in a row, you probably will be slightly points positive, right? So you can probably have like a mid 40% win rate, like 47 or something, and still climb, but very slowly, right? So he's right. He's right in that definitely. Someone covered that in the comments. Yeah. But it's like the idea that like if you just see someone who got to master and it says their win rate is like 30%, that doesn't mean they got there on a 30% win rate, right? It's not really how that works. It very well could be they were losing a lot more and then suddenly they won a whole bunch when they hit a new plateau, right? It is how fighting games work. Like, it's not fighting game progress. Any really skill progress is not linear, right? I talked about it before, but like, you don't just like slowly climb from like being a D rank to a C rank or a B rank or something. Like, there are just things you have to learn, things you have to practice, knowledge you have to master, and then you just jump up, right? You just level up massively. Suddenly, like, the guy who like as a D rank, you have a 0% chance of beating a B rank. Suddenly, you might actually go even with them or have like at least a 40% win rate or something. Just from maybe like you learned how to anti-air, right? You learn how to anti-air, and suddenly that's like the difference maker. You started 6 excelling, right? That's a huge difference maker. And like these things get less common as you go up, but like they still exist, right? Like maybe you started delay teching in S++ or S+, and that was a huge thing for you, right? Maybe you learned like a new optimal like mid-screen conversion in Master, right? And that like wins you rounds you might not have won before, and that little thing was what you needed to like beat a bracket demon of yours, right? Like it might certainly the breakthroughs get smaller as you get better, but the relative, like, you still, you still do have these big jumps up, right? You have these big jumps up where you suddenly can beat people you could never fight before. I've seen people literally edit screenshots to make the new rank system look bad. Do not believe them. That's crazy. What? This is what I'm saying, man. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, this whole, again, I'm gonna repeat myself quickly. I apologize, quickly. This whole new rank system is just the reason I'm so passionate about it and I talk about it so much is because it has been a failure of the community to uplift beginners and intermediates, in my opinion, right? This is extreme. Most of y'all were not doing this. I did not know about anyone who did this. But like, even short of this has been a failure of the community, in my opinion, right? It has been a failure of the community and of some as well, like prominent names and members of the community as well, who to not gatekeep. To not make themselves feel better, to not, like, downplay the accomplishments of others, things like this, right? This is an extreme example, but this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. And I just want it to stop. And maybe if I make the fucking 7th video about it, and I talk about it enough in the fucking Discord server, and people like Avaris make great posts like this in the subreddit, maybe it can stop. Because it's like, it's literally wrong. It's not me saying like, ah, man, the worst person I made, the worst person I know just made a good point. But like, I don't want it to be true because it hurts people's feelings. No. You made a bad point, and you're doing it like an asshole. It's false. It's empirically, objectively incorrect, and you're being an asshole about it. It's the worst of both worlds, right? My God. Yes, it's easier to get to master now. Yes, that's correct. And the average level of play at the lower end is overall lower. That's also true. This is where I saw this graph initially. I got to experience the rankings on the PC version. Honestly, it made climb back to master a lot faster, which is good, so they shouldn't be in the low ranks in the first place. Oh my fucking God, Full Moon. You sexy man. I always knew Vayne players were Chads, man. I need to, like, frame this. Oh my God. I could. You beautiful Brazilian. I could kiss you, man. I could. Thank you so fucking finally, right? Full Moon is a very, very strong player, right? Very strong player. Fucking some context. Oh my, I'm gonna cry. Some context, some perspective, right? Some goddamn paid actor. I wish I would have paid him to say that. I would have. I didn't, but I would have. I need to like frame this. I need to actually like frame this and put it in the bottom left corner of the stream at all times. Oh my fucking god. Thank you, Full Moon. Yes. You, I'm sure, I have no doubts that when you went to PC, you went from like B rank to master in like fucking an hour total, right? But yes, that is good because you fucking winning wall brawls damn near, like beating JF sometimes, shit like that, like Arc World Tour level player damn near, your ass should not be having any trouble ranking up from B rank to master. You're like 7 skill gaps above that, right? Oh my, it's all over, I just came. It's all over the fucking screen, man. Do you know that? It's all over the fucking screen. My god, thank you, Full Moon. You sexy, sexy man. I love South America Grand Blue so much. You guys are so cool. I feel like you guys are like the most, like reasonable fucking portion of the community. I swear to God. I don't know if that's like glazing, but like I've never met like a South American Grand Blue player I didn't like. It's insane. Oh man. It's, yeah, what a great time. But yeah, man. South America FGC is so nice. It's great. I was actually surprised with how fast it went. Yeah, I mean, they did really make, if you're a Smurf, they really wanted you out of there, right? Which is good. That's good. That's like you shouldn't be there at all. You shouldn't be there for one match, but they can't quite do that. So the fact that they kick you out of there as fast as they do is great. You shouldn't be Smurfing should be disallowed practically, right? Like I know I do it for content and things like that. Put a quick master rank distribution for you in Grand Blue. Ooh, thank you, Avaris. Take a look at that in a second. I know like, I do it for content and things, and I try to do it for educational purposes. I'm not just smurfing for the sake of smurfing, right? Like we're checking out different characters, we're learning about them, we're discussing their strengths and weaknesses, things like this, right? But like I am still smurfing, right? There's a good argument that I just shouldn't be able to do that at all, right? So the fact that the master rank system makes it very hard to do for any long amount of time. W, good job. That is clearly, in my opinion, like from looking at the changes, that is what they were meant to do, and it is what they are doing. Easiest case of like, you know, open and shut success I've ever seen, right? Hello, Mr. Bricker. Sounds like we're owning the Smurfs with facts and logic in many ways, yes. Stats don't, Avaris does not care about your feelings. What is this, Avaris? Let me see this. Let's see. What is this? How do you get this data, by the way? How do you do this shit? Oh, this is so interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, like, this is not, I'm not like a genius, right? The difference is, I think, because I'm gonna say I'm right again, okay? I know so much of this video has been me saying I was right, I told you so, right? But like, I wanna say, it's not because I'm like the smartest guy in the fucking world. It's because I play a lot of this game. I play more of this game than most people, and I also keep real perspective, right? There's a lot of people play way more than I do, but they maybe like lose a little bit of perspective of what it's like to not be as good as they are, right? So like, when I said if Avaris broke this down further, because he had 1 to 999, right? He had 1 to 999 as like one bracket. I was telling you, I bet you if he broke this down further, it would be significantly weighted to the lower end, right? And look what we have, right? 100 crystals is most, like one plus is 20% of it. 0 is 24, 7% here. Over 500, it drops like a fucking stone, right? Like you might look at this other thing here, right? You might look at this 1 to 999, right? It's higher quality here. 1 to 999 is the biggest subset of master, and you go like, well, there's a lot of 100 something crystal masters, right? There's a lot of people on the verge of that GM floor. No, man, no. And again, I know this like empirically through playing, but again, it's nice to have Avaris actually be able to prove this, right? Yeah, right. 90% of that little distribution is like 700 and below, 600 and below, something like that. From like 1 to 999, it's incredibly lowly weighted, right? Because again, the skill gaps in Master are huge. Do you notice this exact cutoff? The amount of people who get to 500 plus and can actually like keep winning is so small, because this is when it uncaps your queue. before 500 crystals plus, it basically won't match you up into like grandmasters and stuff like that at all, right? I think it can happen sometimes if like no one's online, but like it doesn't do it, right? You notice the biggest drop here, besides like 1 to 100, right? This is also a huge drop. This is basically 0 crystal master is all of this, right? This is all one thing of 0 crystal master. You might just win one game and be at 12 gems or something, but like the biggest drop lies here because this is where now the real battle begins type shit. So it falls off a cliff, right? It falls off a cliff. And then it sort of coagulates, again, it coagulates here again, like these are sort of your people stuck at the GM floor for their character probably, right? 1500 to 2500 by and large. This is where like most, the GM floor for most characters sits somewhere around here. So like that's your next sort of congregation points, right? People who can beat master rank players pretty easily, and they can beat some GMs sometimes, right? But they have a very hard time climbing past that. That's like me, for example, right? I'm somewhere in this like vague congregation right here, right? I'm like in this 2500 range, because that's where the Diva's GM floor sits, right? So like this is why this is your second biggest grouping, kind of happens around here, and why these are sort of smaller in the middle. So yeah, man, it's very, very good little collection of stats here. And I think I was looking at the Reddit post the whole time, which is a lot more, like a lot lower quality. So just last time going through the Blue Sky post here by Avaris. I mean, follow him on Blue Sky, I suppose. But like, here's what it is, right? There's the rank distribution. Here's what this is, broken down a little bit more by the divisions, right? Here's what it looks like. This is what it was. The black is what it was before. The blue or the discolors is what it is after, right? So mostly a lot more people in Master, which, again, those people probably deserve to be a Master before the patch, most of them. The amount of people who got in here because Master is easier because of win streaks and stuff is probably like less than 1% of this change, right? Mostly it's a lot of people who got there because suddenly not every fucking match is a Smurf, and they don't have to do like the promos roulette wheel to get there. And then finally we have the same thing for the division breakdown, but with the old and the new, right? Do you have a Blue Sky brick? No, I do not. Oh, I mean, Avaris, if I could ask you for one more thing, you don't have to do it right now. I can maybe put this in, but like, something that I'm very interested in too. I know what this is gonna look like, right? But like, you have the black here too. If you could do a breakdown of this black for 1 to 99 too, because again, most of these most of these black masters, sounds a little bit weird. Like most of these like the biggest change from present to past is going to be, again, in this lower end of things, right? It's not like it's suddenly injected a bunch of masters who are getting up to like 999. No, Avaris, never mind. You don't have to do that, because I just know, right? This is obvious, right? But yeah, like, again, even most of these new masters are gonna be in like these areas here, right? 500 and below. Because yeah, and that's okay. That's fine. Like new masters, there's more blood in the pool, more people of their skill level to fight, right? Because this below 500 Q could be pretty dead sometimes before this as well, right? So more people in this little pool, it's good. Honestly, just in every way you can possibly imagine, this new rank system is basically a gigantic W, right? And if you don't think so, it's either, in my opinion, I think I've listened to enough discourse on this now that I can kind of like put my foot down on this. By and large, if you do not like this new rank system, if you just hate it, right? I think it's because you are either a Smurf, in which case, that's kind of, that's on you. Yes, you were the target of this update. Or you have had your mind played with by Smurfs, right? You have had your self-confidence played with, but people are telling you that Master is easy now when it just isn't. It's just not. It objectively is not, right? Please keep that in mind. Congrats to anyone who got to Master in the past fucking 2 months or in the past fucking 16 months, man. I don't care. But, if anyone who got to Master since the rank system update, congratulations. You deserve that shit. And, yeah, onwards and upwards, man. I'll see you in the GM ladder soon, I hope. I did joke when I saw the changes that the only loss is Diaphone's ad revenue from mastering every character. Yeah. Have you seen the new character usage rates? No, I have not, actually. My problem with the changes, they didn't change master rank proper. That's true. I do wish they did that, yes. But, like, in terms of things they did change, everything is basically positive, I think, right? I would like if master rank had Street Fighter 6 MR, for sure, right? I love it. Promos are just hope you get lucky and don't get paired with a Smurf whose name is Gatekeeper. That's what I'm saying, man. I don't like such comparisons to political stuff that sound like an awful lot like a certain unnamed thing happening to some people at times. Listen. Yeah, listen. But yeah, thank you once again. Shout out to Avaris. Absolute GOAT for putting all of this together. Where are these new character usage rates? We can talk about that as the last thing we talk about for today. Something a little lighter, hopefully, we can talk about. Do you have that link for me, Full Moon? I don't, or I don't know if someone put it in the Discord or something like that. What the fuck is this, man? What? What is this? What the fuck are you guys putting in my Discord? What is... What? Why? Who is this? Ryan? Who is this? I haven't launched the game in a year. I'm just confused to what point all the divisions are compared to points. Raziel? I like her boobs. What is happening here? Who is this? Why is he telling me that? Why is he telling us to take ibuprofen together? Bless Raziel somehow, my favorite Grand Blue Nepo baby. That's just your 30s, man. Let's take ibuprofen together. Oh, these are from May? Is this it? How often do these get updated, Full Moon? Alice Beaton posting the link. Did this just come out now? Like, did they only post them like a month in arrears? That's the word for it. Arrears. Is that how they do it? This is like May 1st to May 31st, right? There's no one from, I guess June just ended, I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense. That does track. It's back from when the patch landed? Yeah. Isn't it on the official site? I guess so. It seems it is, yeah. Seemingly every month? Yeah. Okay, so we can talk about this. We were talking about the rank system. It was very, it was a lot, it was a more serious conversation. We can look at some funny stuff here. The character usage rates for May dropped. They've been dropping these for a while. Monthly, it looks like, for a bit. I don't think I've ever, like, looked at these on stream or something. But I didn't look at the May ones either, so we can take a look at May here. This is right after right after the patch dropped, so I want to see like people's knee-jerk reactions to the patch. Basically, we just talked about biggest winners and losers and things like this, right? So I do wonder if like playstyle, like more people are gonna be picking up a character like Vossaraga right there immediately, right? Because they're like this guy's broken now. I gotta learn me some Voss. It updates the first Thursday of each month. Oh, okay, so we'll get the new ones soon here. But this is right after the Galleon patch dropped, pretty much, right? I suppose. So let's see here. So if we go first, let's go all the way down. So Galleon is number one everywhere, right? As you might expect, new DLC character, right? Everyone's trying her out. That's fine. Beatrix, I kind of want to take a look at a lot of these. Actually, we can kind of go. I'm surprised they use red for up and blue for down. Yeah, I guess blue is like it's like power loss. Everyone goes down because I think everyone's trying out Galleon, but like. I am curious. Yeah, so Beatrix was at 8. Was Beatrix number 1 last month before? Look at this. Yeah, Beatrix was number 1 in BC and D, and number 1 in SNA, and number 2 in S plus and S++. And in Master, she's number 6. Yeah, Beatrix was kind of running shit, huh? I mean, it definitely felt like Beatrix was very common whenever you played the video game, but like, I didn't realize she's like number 1 and by like a margin too, right? That's very interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense why, we talked about they nerfed her, they nerfed Versuja. They definitely nerfed her harder than they nerfed Versuja, right? She's just more impactful on, like, the greater meta, even if Versuja is very impactful in, like, tournaments and stuff like that, right? Sandalphon, by the way, this is very interesting. Sandalphon does not feel this popular, right? How is there so much, like, even in April, I know he was only like a month and a half old, but Sandalphon to me is the big, I've gone on record saying that Sandalphon kind of feels like a failure as a DLC. I love him. I love his gameplay. I think he's very fun. I love the elements, but like, it felt like the general community sentiments that I was seeing, just kind of keeping my ear to the ground, was that people don't like Sandalphon. They don't think he's fun. They don't think, like, he certainly, because he was Season 2, a lot of people, bought the game, it was, like, new, things like this. But, like, the character, it didn't seem to really vibe with people. But looking at the data now, he's everywhere, huh? I'm not sure, I guess I'm just wrong? Like, he has a big drop-off in Master, certainly, right? But, like, I wonder if it's different in Japan? Maybe. Maybe this is a Japan diff. In North America, he kind of feels like a failure, right? Like, in terms of, like, people don't seem to like playing him. Like, I don't know. The only Sandalphon players that I know are Wanubi and I think still Koji. I'm not sure if Koji still plays Sandalphon. I haven't really been keeping track. But like, there's just no Sandalphon players, right? And like, not even at like a tournament level, even like a casual level. Like, I named like obviously Koji is like an Arc World Tour like winning level player, and Wanubi is pretty good too. But like, I'm talking about like, I'm not even saying like tournament players. I'm saying people I know who Sandalphon is their main. Though that's it. It's those two, right? He's good. No, Sandy's good for sure. Cow Hunter on the up and up. Who's that? Excuse me. But yeah, like I don't see him very often. So, but I guess it's maybe. Apparently, he's more popular in EU. I mean, I would assume he's more popular in Japan. I mean, I know he is the most popular character by far in like the gacha itself, right? So like my impression of North America has been that Sandalphon has been kind of a flop, right? He top 8 at a major recently, doing very well in online brackets too. Sandy main? Oh, so true. Fair enough. But yeah, like I guess outside of that, he's doing really well, right? That's his second month, right? Obviously, he had like the big DLC release, but like in his second month, still being this popular. I guess he must be more popular outside of North America. North America doesn't seem to like him very much, so that's very curious. But yeah, Beatrix kind of running shit. Gran, unsurprisingly, like the free to play staple, right? Narmaya was definitely the most, like, in my head, if you had to ask me who the most popular character in ranked is, I would say Narmaya. And he certainly is there in Master Rank as well, right? This is in April. So I'm kind of curious now, how does this change when we take a look at May, right? So Beatrix, we saw, did drop down a lot. Obviously, Galleon, this is her release month. She, like, completely takes over. That's understandable, right? Vera in low ranks. A lot more Vera, a lot more Narm. Less Granule. I wonder, so genuinely, right? Galleon, I think a lot of the backlash with the cool stuff wasn't necessary for him, but it also makes him more squishy, so it feels kind of non-intuitive. Yeah. I think elements are actually pretty well executed, right? But I think they're like executed in like a balanced way, where I think people wanted them to be a little bit more bombastic. But I think if the elements were more bombastic, like Dolphon would have to be a lot weaker, right? But maybe that's like a more interesting character design to people, right? Kind of in the same way that like people think like Catalina is boring, despite how good she is, where like a character like, I don't know, like Vayne or something might be a little bit more engaging because he's just kind of weird and spiky, right? Or like, you know, like Nier or something like that. But yeah, so Galleon takes over. Gran, this is very interesting. Galleon, I think, you know what? I'm kind of curious. Galleon feels to me like she feels like one of the biggest influxes of new players that I've ever seen, right? This kind of like streaming, the amount of people who like went around the Galleon patch when she came out, the amount of people who were like, hey, just trying out this game for the first time, any advice? Hey, what character should I play? Hey, trying out this game, any tips? I feel like I've never seen more people like buy the game than when Galleon came out, at least in recent memory, right? So I wonder if, genuinely, Gran's play rate's going down, because she had a huge sale that she came out with too, right? Besides also, listen, she's got big tits. But also, there's a huge sale with her too, right? So I wonder if Gran's play rate going down is literally because free-to-play players bought the full game. Genuinely. Like, I do wonder if Galleon's release was so successful that Gran's play rate went down. Do you know what I mean? Like, for real. Big tits is a perfectly valid reason to buy the game. Listen, man, there's a reason my is the way she is and she got that outfit that she did, okay? I'm just saying. You know, they know what sells. What's the lowest used? Let's see. So in this month, Uno, Lancelot. Yeah, this sounds right. Vayne still, I mean, in lower ranks, Vayne's still very rare, which makes sense, right? But yeah, I mean, Uno, Eustace, Lancelot, Loain, things in lower ranks, these are all things you're not surprised to see at all, right? When you get to Master, Uno, Percy is nowhere in Master rank. That's correct. Percy is like Daryl Brown, and that's it, you know? Catalina's interesting. I guess that's true. I don't see that many Catalinas. And honestly, fucking thank God. Thank Christ. Yeah, Uno is literally used less than Lunalu. That's right. Uno, I think, has always been the least popular character, basically. Right? Like, I mean, if we go back to April, I think it's still him. Yep. Right? Oh, he beats out Lunalu in S+. Let's fucking go! Let's go! Okay. I think he's probably still bottom one here, if I had to guess. I don't get it either. I think Uno's really cool, right? Yeah, look at that. Uno has basically always been the lowest played character in the game, right? Like, I don't think there's been, like, since the game's release, pretty much, I think Uno has always been, like, bottom one play rate, usually, right? Holds pretty well there, too. Right, so. Sandalphon there is because that was the month he came out, so not everyone had him in Master yet when that data was collected, I suppose, but... The only people who play Uno play him for his kit? Ah, he's a cute little floaty Pringle guy. I don't get it. Like, he goes, how based? He goes, how based? When he spot dodges, how based? How do you... I think Uno is also... His theme is great. I don't know. His design is cute. He's a floating little Pringles guy. Like, I don't understand. I'm not saying that Uno is, like, the most interesting design in the world, but, like... Why is he so unpopular? It doesn't make sense to me. He must just be super unpopular in the gacha, because, like, in a vacuum, he's like a cute little floaty guy with a spear. His buttons are weird. I don't think that, like, deters people necessarily, right? Like, a lot of people don't think about the character's kits. I mean, if you think about the kits, Uno's really good, right? Old man with beak driver? I guess. Uno's one of the least liked from the Eternals when, like, 5 of them are in the top 10 total most liked? I guess, yeah. He's unpopular in the gacha too. I guess that must be why. But yeah, so in May here, right? In lower ranks, grand drops. I generally think this because Galleon's release was so successful, right? Narm up, Vera up. Nothing like too significant. Sandalphon down a little bit. I mean, new DLC as well, right? So people are maybe playing just like the newest character. A lot of characters are going to see their usage rates go down because Galleon, it has to add up to 100, right? And Galleon is kind of eating it. It's more so about relative positions that are important. And if anyone sees their usage rate go up, that's actually very meaningful, right? Because, like, Galleon is eating so much usage rates that, Uno does not lack sauce either. Like, he's just not... Again, I feel like Uno mechanically is very interesting, right? So, like, I guess he just... I wonder if Uno was, like... If Uno looked like Cagliostro, you know what I mean? Like, would more people pick him? I don't know. But yeah, so... Yeah, Siegfried gaining... These are low ranks, to be fair, but, like, still interesting to see, right? If we go to Master here, in the current ranks, Narmaya most common, that sounds about right. Vera second most is crazy. Really? I feel like I don't see... Yeah, this can't be... I do wish they broke these down by region. Because Sandalphon has the third most common character in Master? Right? Like, no. No, that's not correct at all. So, like, because I assume these are characters that have to be used at least once this month, right? Like, you have to have actually played the character in Master at least once. This is, at least for North America, this isn't right at all, no? So, like, he must just be way more popular in Japan. This has become, like, me being surprised at how popular Sandalphon is outside of NA, right? People don't play him because he's one of the more technical characters, and we have Narm dominating. Yeah, I mean, and again, you know, in terms of pure popularity, that checks out, even though I never see them in ranked. Yeah, it must be like a Japan and Europe thing. Because people say that he's much more common in Europe too, and I have to imagine he's way more common in Japan. And then, of course, I mean, this is the big one, right? Especially in Master and Grandmaster, people are going to be much more affected by, like, you know, character strength perception and things like this. Vasaraga jumping up. And again, any character that is gaining usage rates in a month where a new character comes in to eat some, right, is very meaningful, right? Vasaraga jumping up to the 4th most common character in Master, I don't think surprises anyone, right? I've certainly seen more of them than I used to. You know, this guy is a menace. This guy's a menace. He's a menace. He's a menace. He's a menace. He's very fun. I will say also, Vasaraga is an incredibly fun character. In my opinion, I think the most up there for most unique character in the game for sure. Like, in terms of, like, he's playing his own game. It's very strong, the game he's playing now. But he really is, like, a weirdo character. Like, he's not playing Grand Blue. It used to be he's not playing Grand Blue in parentheses, like, derogatory. Now, like, he's not playing Grand Blue in parentheses, somebody please help me, somebody please save me. Right? Versuja drops a lot. UL drops. Beatrix drops. Beatrix, less affected by her nerfs than I would think, but, like, definitely drops in usage rate across the board, right? No matter how big the nerfs are, though I do think they're somewhat, like, significant, for sure. Just, like, the perception of getting nerfed is gonna hurt a little bit. Like, people might drop the character, things like this. Yeah, Vera's weird to me, right? And then UL, this one, I feel like this one bears out a little bit in North America at least, right? My experience, I fight more ULs than I would certainly like to as Ladiva, right? I fight more ULs than I would certainly like to. Number 6 feels a little high, right? Number 6 feels a little high, but it's interesting how high up Vera is. She's not the most horny. She's not a Shoto. She's not new. You'd think Apex Predator Galleon would shred her followers. I think people play the Vera players are very dedicated. I think, you know. People who play their character for their personality usually don't switch. It's hard to get those people to go, right? Cagliostro also makes sense. I feel like I see a lot of Cag. Gran, again, I think literally going down because, like, free-to-play Master players bought the game and picked someone else because Galleon had such a successful release, right? Charlotta sounds right. Lots of Charlotta, Belial. What? Huh? I don't think so. Really? This gotta be another regional diff, right? Anila? I know she's not that high, but like even, yeah, she gained in popularity and she's number 13 now. Anila? I know. I mean, listen. I know she's got big boobs. I understand, and the sheep are adorable. But like, again, playing in Master Rank in North America, at least, this does not bear out at all, right? This does not bear out at all. This is not the Brick Anila run clearly had an influence. Yep. Everywhere in EU, yeah. I guess. Again, you know, EU, Japan, they do matter, obviously. But yeah, this is not at all like so. Like a lot of this makes sense in North America too. You know, CAG, Graham being there, Charlotta, Belial, like these things make sense. But like this one's a big standout to me. Fairy sounds right. There's a good amount of fairies running around. It's not 14 still feels a little high. Maybe she's more popular in Japan, especially this is before she would have won Evo Japan. Yeah. Avatar, Bubs, Lucy. This seems right. Matera, Ladiva actually losing. This makes sense to me. Ladiva, despite getting buffed in this patch, Ladiva is probably one of the characters who would lose the most like market share in the short term to Galleon, right? I think people being like, oh my god, Grappler DLC, right? So like Ladiva actually losing some play rate in Master, I think makes some sense. I mean, it happened with nothing, basically, right? Vayne going up makes a lot of sense, right? Big buff to Vayne. I expected 2B higher. 2B was never that popular, like immediately after release. This seems to bear out to me. Yeah, Grimnir, Nier, both very, very rare. Honestly, both of these are higher up than I thought. I like really would have expected Grimnir and Nier to be like near the bottom here with Uno and Lunalu and shit like that. Sadly, hot grappler lady losing market share to hot grappler-ish lady. You know. Like I would expect these two to be even lower from how little it feels like I see them. Honestly, Grimnir especially. I feel like I see more Nier than Grimnir. Vikala is so low? Yeah, I mean Vikala's just been, you know, like they saved Vayne, right? This patch saved Vayne. Like he's a lot better and he's a lot more common now, right? 1% gain is big. Right, when like one spot can be separated by like 0.1%, getting a whole 1% is a really big deal. But like Vikala has just been, she released bad and she's always been, she got better, certainly, but like you said you overestimated Nier's buffs, makes sense people would hop on, maybe. She did gain, that's true. She did have like substantial gain in players after the patch, that's true. Grimnir losing makes sense. Yeah, and then yeah, Percy, in Master Rank, it makes sense. Percy's nowhere, basically, right? Percy has not existed for the entire game's lifespan. Very, very strong character, right? Percy's very good. Uno's very good, too. Seox is very good, too, right? Catalina is maybe the best character in the game, like, but it's not necessarily, you know, that's not necessarily going to determine their, like, at the end of the day, outside of like, if we're talking like literally the people who are trying to win tournaments, people do not play characters for how good they are. People play characters for how fun they are, how well they fit their playstyle, or in a lot of cases, I think genuinely, the biggest driver for people is how cute or visually appealing the character was when they first saw them, right? So like, you know, there's a reason that Narmaya is number 1. There's a reason that Vera is number 2 and Samdofan is number 3, right? Vasaraga fills a very particular niche, right? Vasaraga is like, if you want to, if you want a playstyle that of Vasaraga, it's only Vasaraga, right? And also, he's not like, you know, I mean, certainly in many ways, some people might want Vasaraga to split them in half with the Draft Demolisher, but besides the sex appeal, he's also just cool as fuck. He's the biggest character in the game. He's got a cool demon helmet, right? Things like this. Like, he just looks sick. He looks like fucking Nightmare from Soul Calibur went on a fucking trend cycle, and now he's 7 feet tall and weighs 800 pounds, right? So like, again, a lot of the characters with the most, either this like, you know, hot anime girl who's got a fun personality, right? Or just like cool, visually appealing, right? Hot anime boy for the Fujos as well, right? Versuja, kind of like a mix of all of this, right? Very cool design. And not wearing any clothes, right? Like, there's a very good reason. I mean, Gran is here because he's just the free-to-play character, right? But again, like, hot and cute draft girl. I can fix her. Boy who I want to watch kiss other boys, right? Draft destroyer, the draft demolisher, the 19 inches of Vasaraga, and also the cool design, right? Cool design, god, not wearing any clothes, cute fox girl with a southern accent, right? Hot anime girl who's like funny and cutesy. Gunnar, the video game, right? Cute anime girl. guy for free to play, cute potato, boy who I want to watch kiss other boys, and maybe also me, but I'm not really sure. But you know, like sex offender, but like hot. I don't know. Right? Hot, cute ghost girl, basically Belial, but like if you like getting spanked or like choked in bed, right? I mean, to be fair, yeah. Also, I mean, he is kind of slaying, right? I think the trend does still hold here, right? Like the like Matera, right? Siegfried, like these higher up characters. It makes a lot of sense, right? It makes a lot of sense why they're here, right? Beelzebub is hot, yeah, no, that's fair. Beelzebub is hot for sure, right? So like, my point is that like, you know, I'm not like don't be too surprised that like. I guess Percival, by the way, I think Percival will be a good-looking character, right? Everyone in this game is hot? No, sure, but like there are some that I think just have a little bit wider like mass appeal, I suppose, right? And it's the #1 reason that Uno is probably as low as he is, right? He's not hot, at least not to most people, I don't think. He's not particularly cute because he has still got like the old man thing going on, and he's like floating, and he's got like, you know, he's got like a mustache and stuff. Like he's not really doing cute or hot that well. He's not that visually appealing, right? There's a really big reason I think that he's that far down there, right? Percival is kind of weird to me, but I guess you know, the paradigm of just like hot guy with a sword is very saturated. Maybe just like not the first guy who catches your eye, right? Seox, right? No, not cool looking, but I guess like maybe, too edgy for this fan base, maybe. I don't know, right? Having wearing a mask. Vikala, I think, is because she's just not very good, right? I think Vikala is like the one buck of this trend where I think like the just general talk about Vikala is like so negative. Like he pays the zoner tax a little bit. The zoner is always going to be a little bit more rare, but then she's also just like, I think there's just a lot of talk about her just not being very good and things like this, and kind of sours her image a little bit, right? But like she's obviously just adorable, right? She's adorable. She's got the best animations in the game overall, maybe. But like, I think that's why, like, you know, I understand. Listen, don't let Joshua don't let him know I said this. Do not clip this and send it to him, okay? Because I genuinely think he might like come to my house and kill me, right? I think Catalina is very attractive, but I think she is probably not as like immediately. If you're just like, I want to play hot anime girl, I think most people will sooner gravitate to someone else. There's a very saturated role in this roster. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, right? I'm not here to like objectify the women. I'm just saying that my point is that like the big takeaway here, I think, is that the characters that fewer people find attractive or visually appealing are lower down, basically across the board. Not just like this probably holds even more true in master like lower ranks where people are like less motivated by character strength, right? I mean, again, right? You see Galleon obviously, but you see Beatrix, you see Narmaya, you see Vera, Sandalphon, free to play guy, right? Beginner characters as well will have more sway here, right? Jita and Gran is like the beginner characters, right? See, yeah, there you go, right? The trend when we get lower down. When we get lower down, where people are less concerned about character strength, and we really are just talking about like visual appeal, because in Master Rank, people still pick their character based on like the appeal, but like they're more concerned with strength, right? When we get down to where people are like less concerned about like meta, and they're more just concerned about the character is cute or hot, suddenly Vikala's number 9, because Vikala is one of just she's the most adorable character in the video game, right? She's cute, she's awesome, her crouch animation is amazing. She's my actual human daughter, and suddenly she raises up a lot, right? It's like the one place we have that buck of a trend where like people don't just go to the character based on how cute they look or how hot they look, right? It undoes itself when we leave Master, right? Suddenly we call it 12, 9, 8, right? Everywhere outside of Master, Vicky's very popular, because only in like Master and GM are people gonna really sweat and like drop a character because they think that she's bad, right? But yeah, otherwise, I mean, the trend holds again, right? For Suja, Kag, UL, Charlotta, Cute Patat, right? Belial and Avatar being right next to each other here. Like literally, do you want him to like whisper in your ear and like put like, you know, get close but not fully there? Or do you want him to choke you out and murder you? Like it's a very equal subset of the population in terms of how they want to be sexually harassed. Right? Like it fits. Sora's higher up here is actually this is an interesting one to me. I guess he's cool. In my opinion, I think he's cool, but I'm a saber face enjoyer. There's a lot of saber facing going on, right? There's a lot of saber facing going on. Matera doesn't exist much outside of Master. True. Now, this is why I guess this is where it gets interesting, right? Because Matera, you would think the Gunnar cohort would raise her up, right? Because like you'd be like, oh, well, she's paying the zoner tax, but she's the least played zoner. How interesting. This is our new like thing that kind of bucks the trend, I think, a little bit, right? Brick a Fate fan? We'd be saber facing. Apex Predator to Galleon, but you didn't lose that much play rate. Like, yes, right? If you want to goon, you're playing Galleon. And I mean, and if you want, I guess maybe Matera, it feels weird to think, like, maybe Matera is just, like, out-gooned, right? Arg out-jerked again. Because, like, if you want to goon, why aren't you playing Galleon? Why aren't you playing Narmaya? You know, why aren't you playing Beatrix? Why aren't you playing Anila? Where's Anila? Right? She might just be out-gooned. She's like, it's too much for some people, maybe. I don't know. Narmaya was the face gooning before Galleon? Yeah, I guess, like, gooners just play Narm, I suppose, right? So you have to just be, like, an honest-to-God zoner enjoyer to play Matera. Fair enough. Gooner Krebs. Yeah, she's a little bit Gooner Krebs. I guess she's a little bit Gooner Krebs, right? And again, like, I'm not just trying to focus on the women here. It's the same. Again, there's more of them, but it's the same reason that like Siegfried is so popular, that Belial is so popular, Avatar. It's the reason that Samuel Fawn is number 5 and he's like the most popular character in the gacha, right? Like it's you know, everyone, like, people just objectify everyone as like even their fucking fighting game characters, right? People pick someone based on how cool they look, how hot they look, how cute they look, or some combination of all three, right? And you'll notice, right? You'll notice that our number ones basically across time are cool, hot, and cute, right? Like Narmaya is basically all three, right? Narmaya is like tiny draft girl who like she's very like bubbly and things like this. She has huge tits and she's also a master swordsman, right? Like suddenly when you have a character who's cool, hot, and cute, everyone plays them. Right? Like it really is. It's the appeal theory of fighting game character choice. You know. I think that, you know, there's a reason. Similarly so for Sandalphon, probably, if you're attracted to men, right? He's cute. He has a little coffee thing. He's hot. He's cool. It's everything, right? It's everything. Goon statistics for real. Yeah, guys, stop playing Narmaya. Leave her to me. Cool, hot, and a good character strength-wise. Again, I think this matters mostly in Master, but like strength-wise, like the whole point, this whole tangent I've been going on is basically not that. I think people don't really care about character strengths that much. I think, right? It's why Vikala is so high up here, but so low in Master, right? Because in Master, everyone goes, she's bottom 1. I'm not gonna play her. Outside of it, everyone goes, oh my god, rat daughter, I love her. I want to hug her so hard that her head explodes. And then she's number 9, number 8, things like this, right? So, it really, you know, Narmaya, cool, hot, and cute, and that's why she's been basically the dominator of the leaderboards basically the entire time. Pretty much only ever dethroned by like DLC, essentially, right? Ooh, Charlotta being this up here. That's very interesting to me. I think she's very cute. Cuteness overload, right? She's kind of cool too. I don't know about hot personally. I think if someone said that, I might call the police on them, but she's so cute, but she's so bad, and yeah, throws in the trash bin. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man. So I guess the big stories here are mostly Beatrix losing a good amount of players everywhere, right? I assume because of her nerfs. I mean, she is like, it's kind of the same thing did not happen to Versuja, I don't think, right? Oh, it still did a little bit. Yeah, I guess so, because Versuja was not nerfed as hard as Beatrix, but like they were the only two characters who were like directly targeted with a nerf in the patch, right? Zeta was too, mind you, but like Zeta is actually the biggest loser. Ooh, and she does lose a lot of players, yeah. I was wondering if people like wouldn't really think about that or notice that, but no, yeah, because it was like kind of a stealth biggest nerf in the patch. But yeah, Zeta, the characters that get, as you might expect, the Beatrix got shot out back. No, she didn't. She's still very good, right? But she did get hit harder than Versuja for sure. Excalibur carry, I suppose so. Might have been a Zerom incident, maybe. But yeah, like Beatrix, Versuja, and Zeta all losing big amounts of player base, right? Makes sense. I think people like just a character getting nerfed. A character getting nerfed is bad for optics, right? A lot of people just drop them because they're like, oh, they got nerfed, they must be bad now, type thing. The general opinion in EU is that Versuja got shot out back and B got barely touched. How interesting. I could definitely see an argument that Versuja's nerfs are significant, right? To a similar level, as Beatrix's. But the idea that Beatrix didn't get touched at all is very interesting to me. Where's Luane? Luane's usually pretty low, and I think he is still here. Luane, I think I passed him. Luane is 22nd there. And yeah, he's even lower outside of Master, right? 34. And is he all the way at the bottom here? Yeah, 33, right? He's very unpopular. So overall, right? What does it look like overall this month, and how's that kind of changed? As the last thing we're going to talk about for today here. So Galleon, obviously, overall, big. B is massively popular and topping everything in EU. I think Beatrix is still very good. I think she got hit hard. I think she is still definitely a top, like a tournament-winning character, certainly, right? But, like, I think she did probably get nerfed the most of anyone besides Zeta. Me and the 3 other Lil players are extremely sad. Yeah. No one show Toon. His heart will break. So yeah, Galleon, Beatrix losing a lot, but still being number 2 overall, average throughout the ranks, right? Narmaya up, Vera up, Sandalphon up. Sandalphon is the big surprise to me, man. Sandalphon is the big surprise to me. Like, he's way more popular outside of North America, I guess, right? Like, him being this, like, he doesn't exist in North America. No one plays him in North America at, like, any fucking skill level, it feels like, right? So, like, him being this popular is, I love it. I love Sandalphon. I think his implementation in Rising is so fun. He is still, Avatar Belial is probably my favorite Road to Master we've done that wasn't Ladiva, right? Still lost 1.7, yes, but probably to Galleon. Probably, like, he lost people who were playing him because he was a new character to Galleon, right? But, like, you know, Avatar was my most fun Road to Master. Ladiva was my most fun Road to Master, right? Then probably Avatar. Then probably Sandalphon. I thought he was so fun to play, right? So it's very interesting to me that like I never see him at all in NA, right? I see him like once every like 40 matches in NA, but he's the top 5 most popular character across every rank, basically, outside of it. Grand Jita makes sense, beginner characters, right? And obviously also the free-to-play character right here, so being a little bit more popular makes sense. UL, Siegfried, Cagliostro, Versuja, Vicala overall can't be held back by master rank. Yeah, I don't think there's that many surprises. Vasaraga mostly coming up in Master and S+, right? Again, people a little bit more swayed by character strength. Ladiva overall... Yeah, Ladiva overall only losing a little bit of player base, I think actually does show that she gained a lot from getting buffed, right? Because again, I think Ladiva of all characters probably lost the most players to Galleon, right? So her actually staying about steady here is a really good, like, that probably is, like, a lot of people also joining because she got buffed, right? A lot of people trying her out because she's, like, broken now. Vayne losing overall, interesting. I guess in lower ranks. Yeah, Matera, Percy, Seox, Loane, Grimnir. These are all, like these characters you just don't see, right? If you go to, like, weeklies, you'll see Matera all the time, right? But, like, these being, like, the bottom of the barrel here is not really surprising, right? You don't really see very much of any of these in any ranked queue, honestly. Whether I'm in S+, or Master rank, which is, like, the 3 that I mostly see these days, you, like, never see these guys. Probably, like... Seox, actually, is the one that I see the most in, overall. Like, personally, right? Of these, like, of this, like, characters no one plays. Random being picked more than Uno, it's fucking nuts, man. Not only is it picked more than Uno, look at how far below it he is, right? He's like he's 0.12% below it, right? Like, there's some of these spots are like 0.03% gaps, right? 0.03, 0.03, right? 0.09. Uno is like statistically significantly less popular than Lunalu across every rank in the video game. And, like, the gap between Lunalu and the next guy is huge. This, like, 0.4 gap. Does that exist anywhere else besides Galleon at the top? Almost there, not quite. Right here. Gita de Grand. That's the only other place, and then obviously here too, right? But, like, this gap between Lunalu and Lancelot is gigantic. And even then, Uno is still notably below Lunalu. How based? He's so cool, man. I like Uno. I gotta play Uno to Master, man. He's like almost next. I think it's Bubs and then him. He's so cool, man. Why? He goes, how based? How based? How based? He goes, how based when he spot dodges? What are we talking about, man? Lunalu's really funny. I mean, yeah, but he's still, like, by far the second least popular. How based? Like, what's not to love, man? What's not to love? Brick being the second honorary player, I might have to be, man. How based? What a time to be alive, man. But yeah, cool stats. Well, maybe we'll take a look at them a few months from now. Maybe when Willness comes out, we can see if a patch comes out, we can see how they affect. I've never really looked at them before, right? I don't think for a video. So I just kind of want to spend a little bit of time and take a look, right? Yeah, Vasaraga jumping up quite a bit with the buffs, obviously, right? Compared to previous months. The first time they did them was in February, starting season 2, huh? And yeah, Vasaraga's one, like, definitely jumped up a bunch. He's still not that high, but he jumped up a lot, right? Oh, wow, Uno was above Lunalu back then. What a time to be alive. But yeah, cool stats. Fun times. Everything's computer. We looking at stats all day, man. We looking at these stats. We be looking at these stats. Everything's computer for real. It's so everything's computer. It's crazy. Everything really is computer. I for one bow to our new, and by new I mean 16-month-long Narmaya overlords, man. Hot, cool, cute, boob hitbox. Is anyone surprised that she's like #1 except for the DLC basically all the fucking time? I'm not. This isn't a fighting game, this is math. Everything's computer. Everything's computer. Everything's computer. Surprised Vayne and Kag are low considering that's all I run into in Master. I run into Kag quite a bit in Master, and she's pretty high up in Master rank, right? She's low represented otherwise, but... The boob hitbox is a lie though, and I'm so mad. Everything's computer. Kag's pretty common in Master. Outside of that, I mean, I guess he's pretty common in S+ and S++ too. Just common everywhere. What do I know? I feel like I mostly see her in Master rank, but... She's up there, right? She's top 10. Top 10 or close to it. Top 10 here, top 10 here, 11th there, so... Narmaya, my beloved. Everything's draft lady. Everything is gooner. Everything is gooner. Everything is gooner. That's it, even as Zeta player, Narm combos make you feel like I'm sick, even if they're not that hard. The boob hitbox isn't a lie in my heart. It's not a lie in my boobs. But yeah, fellas, that is gonna do it for the stream today, methinks. Hope you guys had fun. We just kind of talked about a lot of stuff today. But, you know, Wednesday. Wednesday is our little variety talk about stuff day. We'll see what we'll get up to tomorrow. If we're gonna do more of stuff like this, or if we're gonna maybe play some Ladiva or something like that. I do want to play a little bit more Ladiva, but we'll see. We'll see. By the way, one last note on the rank stats: D4 and D5 players are hidden from the versus rank boards. There are even more low rank players. Oh, so that didn't even. This doesn't even take into account. This does not even take into account people who start the game, say they're a beginner, it places them in D5, and they never play ranked? Oh, so it is. This is honest. This is honest, yeah. I'm going to tag this on, actually, in there somewhere. D4 and D5 players are hidden, so I thought maybe D and C will be overrepresented because it will be people who, like, you know, when you start the game, it tells you how comfortable are you with fighting games, and depending on your answer, it places you in D, C, or B. Complete beginners who might say, I'm new, get put in D5, and then never play ranked, won't even be in this data? So it really is. It's accurate then, right? Straight up, half the player base isn't in A rank. Place in D3, in D3, C3, B3 based on that answer? Oh, wait. Are you sure? Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. You can D-rank from D3. Oh, I see. So if you do D-rank from D3, it doesn't... I mean, okay. So, in which case, though, still... So, there are... Yeah, so the people who never played ranked are going to be included. Never mind. Okay. It's still not a majority of the people, I don't think. And even then, I think those people are still fair to include. Because, like, it's not like suddenly if they played ranked, they will be in S rank. Those people, like, are, you know, probably the most beginner players, right? So, again, like, they wouldn't... So, it is still very valid to say half the player base isn't even in A rank, right? So this idea that, like, Master is just this, like, easy brain-dead thing that everyone can trip into is so far removed from reality that it borders on just, like, pure rage bait at this point. Like, especially with this data at hand, right? But yeah, thank you very much, Avaris. Very, very cool. And you gave me something to talk about, to rant about for, like, an hour. And finally, some actual data to back up the things I've been saying for, like, a month and a half, right? Awesome. You can see the Excel spreadsheet. Like screenshot the top percent? Yeah. Top 2.25% if you're at 4,000 crystals or higher. Goddamn. What about, imagine motherfuckers with like 20,000 crystals. But yeah, very well done, Avaris. Thank you very much. We will watch your career with great interest. AvarisA.bsky.social. I'm keeping an eye on you. See if you do anything, if you put out any more awesome shit. If you don't, that's awesome. Yeah. Anyways, fellas, I'm going to end the stream on YouTube here. Stand proud, Master Players. You are strong. That's correct. We're going to find someone to raid on Twitch. See you guys tomorrow for more... Maybe some variety like this. Maybe there's some, like, Grand Blue discussions. Maybe some Ladiva. Maybe some replay review. Maybe something like that. We'll see. But yeah. Have a wonderful day on YouTube, and let's find someone to raid on Twitch.